This episode of An Unexpected Podcast is brought to you by Martha Kirk,
Denise Smith,
and mothers everywhere. Thank you. Hello, friends, and welcome to An Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez.
And I'm Lane.
And we're talking Tolkien.
We're coming to you from the Shire of America, the beautiful state of Ohio, in a little village called Amanda.
What village is it again?
Amanda.
Okay, I don't know. Last week we played a fortnight ago, we played the wonky little Amanda intro.
We did, and actually I just went and I checked their Facebook, their YouTube channel out, and they're up to like 1 billion hits. So all the uppers must have pushed them. Pages of Paul is on the top 10 charts now, guys. Thanks for that.
Awesome.
So Amanda's on the map.
That's
in
great.
a second way.
That's good. That's good. We are wired.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wound for sound.
So usually we come in with this energy, right?
Uh-huh.
And then it just kind of sort of fades gently throughout the evening.
Yeah. It's not going to.
Where's it going to happen, man?
It's not going to happen.
It's not. The sun will not set this day.
Well, I think it's also the chapter that we're talking about today. It's really got us amped up. We're out of that misty fog, like
the confusion is gone.
Yeah. So I'm really excited.
All right, guys, I told Ez this one's going to be an hour and a half. This is a short episode.
We'll see about that, my friend. We will see about that. All right, so let's jump into our quick counsel. We're going to have some new audio little intros here we're working on. Lane just figured out which ones we want to do. So kind of.
And we're waiting for Ezra's approval. So after we have our spat, we'll let you know.
I have to cut it up and make sure it works, Okay. Okay, anyways. So, quick counsel. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm doing good. Life's great.
Yeah.
We dedicated this episode to our mothers and mothers everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think you said this will drop right before Mother's Day.
Yeah, this is the Sunday right before Mother's Day.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Perfect.
Took me a while to remember that.
I'm glad I nailed it. So no, we do want to give a big shout out to all the mothers who are listening, and also remind you, don't forget next week's Mother's Day.
That's right. Treat those mothers right. And we didn't record it right now, but we're going to cut away really quick to a recent mother, my beautiful wife, Goldberry. Her God-given name or birth name, I guess, is Sarah Smith. And she's got a cool little story to share about some of why, I guess, really fleshing out why mothers are so amazing. Mm-hmm. And why, especially new fathers, I guess, are just kind of butterbursts. I don't know. I mean,
yes, exactly. That's exactly what they are.
Kind of whatever.
Guys, this was a great opportunity for me to sit down one-on-one with Mrs. Smith.
I don't like how you said that.
What?
I don't like how you said that.
I'm sorry. It's what happened. So I got some inside intel.
Winnie was also there.
She was.
It's kind of 1-on-2. My daughter was
quiet.
She was. She was kind of eyeing. She was. Yeah. I think she's unsure of the podcasting process.
Well, and
it's all new to her. Yeah, everything's new to her.
She was eyeing the mic.
She was eyeing it. And as soon as we stopped recording, what did she do?
No, she started talking. Yeah.
So
it's great. So all right, we'll take a quick listen to that.
That was a smooth transition. Quick, right into it.
Wow, Jesus criminy. And here's Mrs. Smith. Hey, uppers, we are here with a very special mother. We like to call her the sort of, you always have the team mom, of like the baseball team or what have you. She's the team mom of our podcast. She is a.k.a. Goldberry, Sarah Smith, She's here with us. How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So we're kind of dedicating this episode to mothers, and you are you're holding your child now.
I am. She just woke up from a nap that her dad got her up from, which is, I think, what I'm here to share, something that has happened recently within the middle of the night.
Okay. I've not heard. Okay, let's hear this.
Okay. So, you going to talk, Winnie?
She's
looking right by the microphone.
Hey, guys.
Tell them hi. All right. So I am nursing her. I'm breastfeeding, have been for 18 weeks now, 4 months. And when you do that, and I have a pretty decent milk supply.
Sure.
Let's just, I'm very grateful. But
yeah, I've opened the freezer, so
yes,
I know.
it's in there. And with working, I'm thankful that I still have some. And I'm getting up in the middle of the night, right? Most evenings, and I'm pretty exhausted working and breastfeeding in the night, and she's getting up 2 or 3 times still. 2 or 3 times in the night to nurse, and Lane has decided that it's not totally fair that I have to get up every time and he just sleeps peacefully through the night. Because I said to him one night, or the next day, I said, how on earth, her monitor is in our room, you hear her cry, you don't budge, nothing. So he's pretty self-conscious of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
The next night, she's crying. I fed her. I laid her down. She started crying again.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my God, okay. He told me to wake him up. I look at him. I'm like, hey, Lane, you need to, please, can you go get her? She's like crying and she, she won't go back to sleep. I've nursed her already. She's been burped, blah, 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 blah. Can you go deal with her? He literally says to me, huh? What? Huh? Yep. Hey, what? I said, Lane, can you do that? Yeah. What? Who are you talking about? I'm like, our daughter. Who do you want me? I'll go rock her, but who? This continues for literally a minute. I'm like, hey, bud, like, I'll deal with it. Like, it's not a big deal. He goes, wait, yeah, I'll get her. No worries. Rolls right back over and falls asleep.
No.
No clue. He had no clue the next morning. He even said that.
No
So
way.
then the next night, same deal. She got up a couple of times, and probably the second wake up, she refused to go back to sleep. After, she was asleep. I laid her down. She popped back up because she's laying on her belly now because she's more comfortable, stuff like that.
Right.
So I look at him and I'm like, well, we'll give this another try. He probably won't wake up, whatever.
Right.
Hey, Lane, can you deal with her? I've tried. I need to go back to sleep. Could you rock her? And he goes, yeah, I could. Rolled right back over and fell asleep. No. I text him because in the middle of the night, he didn't remember. The next morning, he's like, I am a jerk. I'm a complete jerk. So let's just chalk it up as Lane Smith as a very, very hard sleeper.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. This is interesting. We might have to take this a little further. There might have to be I could come over and provide some sleep therapy session. Yes.
Please do. But then the next evening, he did say he popped right up and dealt with her. Oh yeah. I got her. No problem.
Okay, so we just have to get him in this habit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Make him aware of it.
Wow.
So. Yeah, I could.
That is
rock her to sleep.
but I'm sure.
I could.
But I'm trying to sleep over here for crying out loud.
Yeah, but we got her back to sleep, and she's all right. She survived. She's sleeping good. She had 2 naps today, and.
Well, see, that's my point, right? Is that we've got these, awesome, wonderful mothers who just do so much for all of us, and yeah, I don't know. You guys have no idea. Like, Sarah is the reason we are able to do this podcast. Just to be very clear. Seriously. So now, well, look at that. She's really...
She's staring at us.
Whitney, hey, you going to say something for the podcast?
You tell him something?
She might here in a second, guys. You never know. Predictions. So...
thoughts about the show.
Right, yeah.
She says she still loves her daddy, even though he doesn't wake up in the night.
Yeah. That's why I've noticed you're right today. Every time mommy pops around the corner, the smile just lights up. There's the lovely mommy who, takes care of me at night. She's actually shaking her head at Lane right now as he tries to give her a little kiss. What are you doing? It's awesome. Well, in all seriousness, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Because there are nights, this is so true, where we are podcasting till 2:00 in the morning, and I'll see Sarah walk through like a zombie. Hey guys, you guys still podcasting? What's going on? All right, we'll see you. It rolls back. Yeah, she makes this possible. So, because the appendices get a little wild, and we get a little crazy down here. So
it's all good. I'm glad we can do it in the Shire of America, right, Winnie Sue?
Yeah.
Will you tell him goodbye?
See you, Winnie.
You tell.
Okay, she's just chilling. All right. Thank you, and back.
Thank you
to today's episode. And we're back.
And so that, yeah. So, like Sarah,
that's embarrassing.
Yeah, Sarah did point out though, I don't have any memory of that.
I'm kidding,
and I don't. But that doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. So
yeah.
And I'm trying to do better. I don't know, man.
I mean, I could make excuses for you. I could.
If you've listened to the appendices, if you're on Patreon, you've listened to the appendices, you know that I don't like sleep. I love to be asleep, but the whole transition of going to sleep and then coming out of sleep for me is, I've got some kind. I need to go see a psychiatrist because I'm sure there's some history and like some sort of trauma there.
I don't think you have to convince anybody. Just so you know.
I feel compelled to, okay. That's part of my healing process. So if you want to talk to my psychiatrist about that, I can get you his number.
Okay. Right.
But
its number, you mean
you shouldn't shame someone who's processing
dream whale
baggage
situation.
Well, the dream whale was actually, I mean, wow, it shows what a good listener you are.
No,
Maybe
I listened.
Part of the problem.
I listened.
No, my dream whale was actually a savior, but I mean, it took me 2 good dreams, if you remember, saved me from nightmares.
I got it.
Oh yeah, is that what you said? Oh,
I got it. So it's difficult for you to come out of the dream whale.
Wouldn't this be so much more fun if we liked each other?
Yeah,
I think everyone thinks that it's a joke. We really,
I really get irritated with
each other.
With Lane when we're trying to get into an episode here. Okay,
let's get into it.
Let's cut the crap.
Well, this is quick counsel.
It is quick counsel. So another quick update. We just had an awesome. It's very this chapter is are the weather. Like what's happening right now with us is like mirroring the chapter. It's just
is there some sort of deeper magic that is causing our real life and even what our surroundings to parallel the story?
Perhaps,
it's weird, man. Because
it's never-ending story, like is what it is. It
kind of is.
Yeah.
Atreyu. Is it like kind of? Because I wonder what season? It's spring. Obviously,
right
up here in the Northern Hemisphere. Not for all of our listeners, though. We got Adam down in Australia, so it's fall. It's heading into winter down there.
Okay.
But what did today feel like? A spring day?
No, it felt like fall.
Felt like fall.
Yeah.
What season are we in our beautiful, glorious reading right now?
I believe we're in fall.
I believe we're in the fall.
Yeah.
That's right. Kind of weird. Kind of a strange coincidence, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but still, we made the most of it. We went outside and we had... we threw our meat on the grill, and
there's video evidence of that too.
Yeah, we did a
little live Facebook. We're tinkering with live Facebook.
Terrible with live Facebook, so sorry about that.
I think it'll play better not live than it did live though.
Okay,
I think we'll look back someday and think that was pretty cool.
Okay,
that was fun.
Good. I'm glad.
We discovered a barrow in my backyard. Again, parallels.
Seriously,
we're grilling some meat. Probably a little fresher than Butterbur offered up in this chapter. And maybe. I guess we do. I mean, I don't know. Do you remember exactly how the meat's described? Because there's lots of types of meat out there, baby.
Yeah, I do a little bit. We'll get into that.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself.
This is a good meal.
Again, I'm kind of talking like Butterbur. Yeah. We had some good food. We hung out by the fire, had some good discussion. Yep. Ez did some Jedi mind tricks on me. And here we are, guys.
Here we are.
The 10th episode. I think we play some kind of sound effect there that's like,
dun da da. Sure.
I was thinking like those little trumpets.
Well, please don't go back to the firework.
Sound. I don't think I could repeat that even if I tried. Hey, you know what? From what I remember, people liked that.
Okay, sure.
Uppers were fans of the firework sound effects. But yeah, 10th episode. So we want to thank you for making it possible. We want to thank obviously Mr. Tolkien for writing such an amazing work of literature that we could spend 10,000 episodes on.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. It's just amazing. I thought, and guys, our community
feels like
is
more
growing.
though. Actually,
it does feel like more, but it also, I'm like, our community is growing so fast.
Yeah, it is.
We have we've got that new Facebook group that people are jumping into. We just hit 100 members. So the conversation is going there.
Yep.
when we put the chapter reread up there, we're getting comments, and that thread is growing and
absolutely
braiding itself.
It's really cool because you guys, again, we are learning from you, and we've been talking a lot about just the different things that we take away from that group that are awesome. It's adding depth to the podcast and to the reread and to the club itself.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. It's going way far beyond just threads and polls now. It's you guys getting to comment and leave. It's cool. It's just such a, I don't know, we're talking about hiking. We're talking about, other books that we've read. We're talking about, things that make us laugh. It's really, really cool. It's a cool way to do business.
Absolutely.
And pleasure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So check out the Facebook group, Facebook page, all that goodness, and we will keep updating you guys there.
Yeah.
Now, are we ready to jump into the next segment?
Trying to think.
It's up to you. I think we are.
I think so. Did you want to talk about the new Patreon stuff?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Why don't you talk about that real quick? Because I have to pull up an article.
Okay, yeah.
You do that, and I'll be right back.
No, that's wow. Jesus. Here we go. The voices are coming out. No, so we have an idea. People have asked us about some shirts and some different things. Lane just comes up with, I don't know where he gets these ideas from, but for slogans and titles and whatnot, like the name game has always thrown me off. I never know when it's coming. He just drops it in there on me. So just so you guys know that it's completely, I don't know when that's happening. And I also don't even know what the names are until he pops it into the doc. So and those are all him. Like he comes up with these every week.
Should we share that there is an actual? We're not going to share the reason. Maybe
we said we'd save it. So now we said we'd save it, but I mean we said we didn't say when. I mean, should we?
Let's keep leading them on.
Okay, okay.
There is, but I'll just say this much: there is a reason that we do the name game,
and it's not what you would think.
No. Much like everything in this book.
It's very unexpected.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways,
but it did originate from something real.
It did. Yes. Absolutely did. Yeah. So the Patreon plug, just very quickly, we are creating another tier, hopefully, where we can kind of get you guys a T-shirt or some swag, some swag bag. You know what I'm saying? Some action.
Yeah, boy.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I sounded cool or not there. Probably
neither of us did.
No, it's okay though. And really, what it would be basically, if you sign up for that tier, that next level tier, which we would call it the high elves or something. What would we call it?
I think that's what you're throwing around. I really like that
because so far we've got hobbits right now.
We've got and is there a dwarf in there as well?
Yeah, I think there is somewhere. But yeah, so basically. The next tier, we would provide you with a T-shirt, and then I think every 4 to 5 months, or maybe 3 to 4, I guess, we were talking about doing like a sort of like a what do you call that? Like a bag of goodies, like some stuff, like send them, I think it could be
a Michael Scott gift basket.
Well, okay,
where are the turtles?
I don't think it would be that cool. But it would be like some pieces of Lane's artwork or something. It could be. Like a coffee mug, some different things like that. A T-shirt. We've got bunch of different T-shirt ideas.
It literally like 90% of what you're giving us would go right back to you. It's all about getting you stuff that has the podcast or
Lord of the Rings
book club attached to it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just to help to kind of spread the word a little bit, and
give you something to maybe wear while you're listening, or go out and.
Well, I was thinking like a coffee mug too. We were kind of excited to get like a mug with the logo, or like a funny, quote from the show or movie or whatever, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the plan. We have that tier coming, and we will let you guys know when that happens.
Very exciting, Ezra. Always just whipping up those ideas like a little wizard.
Thank you.
You want to move on to Dropping Eves?
Yeah, into Dropping Eves. All right. So what do we have?
We've got some Amazon show news, so just kind of quickly recap what's been going on, right? So Amazon won the bidding war. It's going to be the most expensive television show of all time. We're hearing up to 5 seasons worth, where we know the focus will be in the period of time between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Excuse me. Getting choked up. I just burped, actually.
Sure.
We're hearing now maybe that the rumors are it might be focused on Aragorn, and we've You and I have both kind of shared our feelings about that. You know, the longer I think about it too, I mean, I'm not gonna hate that. You know what I mean? He is my homie. He's my favorite character of all time. He is the reason that I have this renewed, like, because we're into this chapter, why I had this renewed energy and excitement.
Reason for the season. I got you.
That's right. WWAD. What would Aragorn do?
Oh, that's gonna be part of the grab bag.
That's right. We found a place, guys. Actually, tangent. I'm in Butterbur mode. Now I have a name for it. Butterbur mode.
Yeah.
And I'm being a Butterbur. We found a place that makes the same style of bracelet as those old retro WWJD bracelets. Mm-hmm. So we could literally make ones that look just like the WWJD, but say WWAD. So those will be made. I will wear one.
Oh, I would too. I'd wear it every day.
We're going to wear it, and especially when we podcast, and it can be sent out to you guys too. So as part of that goodie bag. So anyway, I'm sorry. Show is going to mostly, what we're hearing rumors now anyway, could potentially focus on Aragorn's younger life. And, you know, we talked about how, you know, you could, his time with the elves, Elrond and Elrohir and Elladan and Arwen would be in there. That's Arwen's brothers and you know, her, obviously. What?
Are you making this up here in the?
You weren't supposed to read that yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. Organic. And then also, I don't know how long they'll go in his life, but you also remember that Aragorn fought alongside Theoden's dad.
Yes, right.
With Rohan. So we could also see maybe like a younger Theoden, which would be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
We do have some breaking news. I'm going to get that out of the way real quick, then I'll read a couple articles that I found. We have our first acting attachment that's officially been announced. Zac Efron is cast as young Aragorn.
Wow.
And we're hearing it's also going to kind of be a musical as well. Take on Aragorn's young life. And also rumored Nic Cage is going to have a second chance at Middle-earth. He's going to be playing Arathorn in flashbacks.
Okay. So. That would be interesting.
Yeah. And that's not real.
That's confirmed, not real.
That's confirmed to be false. So we're just trying to have a little bit of fun there. I was thinking about who. Well, and that kind of leads me into who would you like to play young Aragorn? We don't have to answer that now.
No, yeah, okay.
Let's think about that because I'm not even sure who I would want.
Yeah.
You'd have to find someone that would fit perfectly, and I just don't know, man. I almost think an unknown would be better than picking someone that you know. Yeah, because Viggo Mortensen wasn't an unknown, but he wasn't what he is now.
But wouldn't you want? I mean, couldn't an old Viggo play a young?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Well, and here's my thing though. Could we?
I'm just joking.
Could Viggo come back for that somehow?
He could.
Could he come back and we could have, like, you know, him as a king looking back?
Ooh.
We could have flash forwards as well as flashbacks.
Yeah.
I don't know. That could be kind of interesting. And would he do that? I don't know if he would. I think for him, it's always the story. If the story is strong enough, you've heard him say it. He you know, after Lord of the Rings, everyone thought he was going to pick all these, and he's offered a lot of like high profile, famous movie. What would you call that? Mainstream movie roles.
High profile.
Yeah. And he didn't take them because he chose more independent films that had better stories that he liked better. And so he thought, you know, Lord of the Rings has given me the freedom to do the movies I want.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he would come back and reprise his role as an Aragorn. Would I love that?
Gotcha.
Yeah. Would I probably pee my pants with excitement? Yeah, daily.
Yeah.
I would.
Sure you would. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So we could think about that. Who would we cast as Aragorn?
Okay. Yeah, let us know, guys.
Yeah, please. So there are a couple of articles I found. There's one from the New York Post, and I just look up, you know, recent articles, see what's going on. Again, not tons of news. Oh, we also heard that, you know, Peter Jackson might be attached to it somehow as a producing role, maybe guest direct, be an advisor, things like that. WB is involved as well. They want to make sure that the show has what would you say, a consistent look with the films. So feel like it's from the same universe.
So that would just be sharing some of their information.
I don't know what that would involve. I haven't heard details. They're going to be involved to ensure continuity or consistency, I guess. So does that? I don't.
I bet you they're making money off of that, though.
Gotta be. Oh yeah.
But what it would be is right. It would be like bringing in people. I don't know, like the look that they created that Tammy created for the orcs. We want that to be consistent.
Right. And so we were talking about this off the podcast, and we were like, does that mean that like will Tammy go back? Could Tammy go back?
As a consultant, even.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, shows run differently from movies.
Right.
They're filmed differently. They're not as, I mean, especially with like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, those are like 13 months at a time. This wouldn't be that. Is it something that she could do, you know, for a month and then come back?
Sure.
Or will they film in New Zealand? You know, like Hercules and Xena Princess Warrior were filmed in New Zealand. Those were popular TV shows. And a lot of the same people who worked on Lord of the Rings worked on those shows first. So it's not unprecedented to go film a show in New Zealand at all. Especially with this big of a budget, they could do that. And so if they're there, and if they want it to look the same, and if there's anything that has to do with the Shire, they'd have to go back to New Zealand.
Right.
I mean, if they're going back to familiar places and they want continuity, you got to go back to where you filmed it. So that makes me think, yeah, Weta would have to be involved. You know, I don't know. The same people that they use for all the films would probably be involved in some way. So if you're going to go that angle, why not go all the way? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And even just like you think about the music. I mean, the score.
Get Howard Shore there.
Well,
sure.
Or just influences, you know, right? And that sort
well,
of stuff.
and I guess what's John Williams done with Star Wars? He doesn't do them anymore, but they use his themes and then they build off those themes, right? Or does John Williams still do? Does he still do the score?
I think he does the main series, but he
didn't do Rogue One.
He's not doing the standalones.
Okay,
yeah,
but they still sound very similar. You can't go, oh, that's, you know, I mean,
no, yeah. And it's all kind of, you're doing variants of what he's done before. Right. Yeah,
building off of the foundation there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So sorry, long way to get into the article. So the main one is just this New York Post article, and it came out, oh man, like April 11th, and the title was why Amazon's The Lord of the Rings show will be a flop.
Okay.
So they're calling. So mostly you've just heard, you know, the basics of this is what it'll be, this is what's going on. We haven't really heard many sides other than John Rhys Davies saying it's like a money grab, that kind of thing. We haven't heard much. So they're pretty much just saying, wow, Game of Thrones is going to be ending. You know, who's going to fill that gap?
And
what they're saying is not this show. They're saying because they're classifying it as a spinoff. So they compare it to like The Lone Gunman, which spun off from The X-Files and failed. Joey, which spun off from Friends and failed. And Law and Order LA. I think that's kind of a weak comparison, honestly, but
absolutely
that's cool.
Weak.
They're saying obviously like Stranger Things is a high profile show that will sustain for at least 2 more seasons. I'll just read some of this real quick.
Sure.
It says, you know, Lord of the Rings is poised to be the most formidable usurper. It's got battles, British men with greasy shoulder-length hair, competing houses and creatures for days. But don't pop the champagne cork yet. What Lord of the Rings doesn't have is a chance in Mordor of matching the success of Game of Thrones. They're saying they don't have a chance.
They're just comparing it to Game of Thrones?
They're saying, yeah.
As a TV show?
And that's the natural comparison that comes up, right? They're saying,
Well, okay, here, let me tell you something real quick, if that's okay.
Yes.
You know, the reason Game of Thrones is so exciting is because of its unexpected nature, right? And it's just things happen that, you know, this person takes power, you don't see this coming, etc. Yeah. That works well on a TV show.
Yeah.
And I actually think this series worked very well in movie form. So we are a little nervous about it being in TV, but for your fans, your deep and sweaty fans, those who are in it, love it, you know, we're going to, even if we don't like episode 1, we're going to watch episode 2. If we don't like 2, we're going to watch 3. Doesn't matter. We're still going to watch it. It's getting people who, you know, I don't know, not that your mainstream, you know, audience.
Yeah. And so that I just glanced through to remember the main part of this article, and pretty much they just said because there's no sex in Middle-earth, it won't be as big.
Are you kidding me?
They're saying because they're pretty, and this to me like kind of discredits Game of Thrones for fans of the show and the books. It says, you know, face it, like sex sells, and Middle-earth doesn't do that.
Time out.
That's what they're saying. I don't agree.
Season 1, Game of Thrones, is a lot of sex.
Yeah.
Season 2, maybe half that amount. Season 3, they basically could do away with it because it was so successful. They got back to the story.
Yeah, they said.
So I get a little bit of that, but
they said, because the Hobbit was based on Tolkien's, a story for his children at bedtime, that there isn't that kind of element. He said, this article says Elrond didn't do full frontal, and Bilbo never bared his behind. Nobody in Osgiliath is going to do Cersei's walk of shame.
Unreal. Okay.
So
let me tell you something, Lane. Let me tell you something.
It's ridiculous. It's a weak argument, my friend.
It's very weak. You have the hero journey, the story, the hero story, the hero arc.
Right.
It's worked in every epic in literature from the beginning of time.
I think you could argue it's the only thing that works 100% of the time.
All the time. It always will work.
Because if you throw sex into it, you have some people who switch off.
Right.
Like, honestly, I don't really need to see that. It's a turn off for me. Just show me the story. Show me the story. If you want to make allusions to romance and that kind of stuff, that's cool. I don't need to see it. Like, that's fine.
We can write our own fanfic.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think some of us have.
Right.
But sort of that to me, that's sort of I don't know, it's sort of not insulting, but it's sort of to both fan bases, both Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. I don't know. I disagree. I think it's a weak argument, but it's out there. So that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
the Tolkien biopic is still in production. No more news.
Yeah.
We'll keep one eye on that project.
Good. Good. Okay.
We do have some stuff in other corners of Middle-earth. So we have things like our polls have been on there. So the poll for the last chapter was "The White Hand reminded me of the Thing" from the Addams Family,
yep.
or Shelob.
Yeah,
because it was kind of compared to a spider sort of wriggling around. We had about 31 votes last time I checked. 58% said the Thing. 42% said Shelob. I did actually re-listen to that part of the last podcast, and I think I said Cousin It's Hand. So I apologize to any diehard Addams Family fans out there. That was the wrong character. He's the only one I knew.
I didn't even catch that.
I don't even know. I know none of the other characters I know is pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We did do an interesting poll that we can talk about for a second. I know that, dude, I say we're going to go short, and here I am babbling.
I know. Whatever. I told you.
I'm sorry.
I know.
So weekly episodes, we put a poll out there. 77 votes. I think in just 1 week, actually. So a lot of you made your voice heard. A lot of you uppers told us what you wanted to do. That was yes out of 77 votes. No was 12%, and yes was 88%. So as you've got a little bit of a plan onto how we're going to roll out, your voice has been heard. Sure. We've been thinking about it anyway. We love doing this, so we want to do it more often ourselves. And so we have a plan for how we're going to roll out that weekly episode format.
Well, first, since it's sort of the theme of this episode, number one, again, huge shout out to Team Mom, right? So very thankful for her. We're able to do this podcast because of our Goldberry.
Sarah, that's right.
So anyways, so we've talked it over, and we believe that we could possibly this summer kind of get ahead a little bit and start to kind of roll out a weekly show. So I mean, really, it just comes down to you and I getting together and doing 2 episodes,
right?
When we meet,
right?
So which is honestly fine, because right now I think you're 2-3 chapters ahead. I've read up to the, I mean, we've read this series obviously before multiple times, but in our reread capacity here when we started the podcast, we're ahead. So we're actually in a good place.
We're in a great place, and
it's really just been your guys' support and everyone wanting to get through this too. I think people want to they want to get through the book, but we're torn. Because I've got these 12%, and I think one of those is you.
I want to play devil's advocate.
I know you did, and but the idea that we like taking our time too, and we like to kind of just remember how we didn't even want to leave the Shire. We're like, oh my God,
I want to go back now.
We have to leave.
Yep.
Some very Shire-like elements coming up in this episode.
Yes, there are. Ooh,
yeah.
Yes.
So, but we do want to get more episodes out there, and we actually think we could get more people to engage or be in the podcast, because basically after 7 to 8 days, if people check in there on iTunes and stuff like that, there is no recent podcast to look for, and you kind of miss this window, this opportunity to bring in new people to the book club and so on. So we would like to do that. So hopefully that is okay. We plan on starting that, I think June? I think in June we plan on starting, one episode a week.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to it. We do have that special, it's out there, so it's not going to be as big of a surprise as Tammy is. I guess when it happens, it will be. But we do on the group have still like a thread open where you can post questions for Shane Rangi, one of the heartbeats of the original trilogy. He was also in The Hobbit. He was the Witch King. He stabbed Frodo in the chest.
Right.
The dude's amazing. He was also on a Mumakil. He was one of the not the Haradrim. The
Wildmen?
What are they called?
I don't know. Weren't they Wildmen of the South or something?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know exactly what his title was. Yeah.
Mumakil. He was driving a Mumakil.
He has a great head.
Well, apparently
he's got a great head to work on.
His face is just, Tammy misses his face. Yeah. So, that speaks for itself. And I know he's an amazing guy. We're just Facebook friends. I know him through my Kiwi mom. So anyway, get on there and please leave us a question that we can ask him. We want to fill that interview with as many of your questions as possible because you come up with great stuff.
Right.
So that'll also be coming this summer. That'll be really cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
We're going to do the mini epics review tonight, and that's pretty much all from Dropping Eves, my man. That's
I'd say one more thing. It's almost like a show update too for Patron. We're doing our drinking game tonight as well.
That's right.
We're doing.
Maybe that's why we're so jazzed. Too.
Yeah,
that's going to be a lot of fun.
We're going to do our drinking game tonight. Yeah. And just to let you guys know, when you do a drinking game, Lane, you kind of got to do a little research.
You do.
So
especially if you want to create one. And that's what we want to do. We want to make something original because you guys deserve that.
Right. So we're going to play a drinking game first, and we're going to see how that goes.
Right. To feel the spirit and be inspired.
We want to understand how this works, and then we are going to create one ourselves.
Yeah.
And when you listen to that, you will have to join Team Lane or Team Ez.
I know what I would choose.
I would probably...
I'd sit it out. I wouldn't play.
You would sit it out, yeah. It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
Both sides are getting messed up for sure. Yeah.
So it'll be fun. So anyways, just want a quick update there.
I did have a little bit of poetry because, April showers bring May flowers and all this stuff. There's a lot of poetry this time of year.
Sure, okay.
Roses are red, violets are blue.
Right.
That's how we say I love you. I don't know. Jory Webb put a beautiful, just couplets of prose on our Facebook group page. Yeah. So I'm just going to read it here. And Jory, I hadn't heard him post before, so this is really cool. A new voice. He said, Our hobbits are trekking and Gandalf's still gray. When we meet next fortnight, it's gonna be May. And he's right.
Oh my gosh, that's so hilarious.
I don't know why. I love when May comes because those memes are and it's that picture of him with his like ramen hair. Yeah. Who misses JT ramen hair?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So our hobbits are trekking. Gandalf's still gray. When we meet next fortnight, it's going to be May.
Wow.
There you go.
That is so epic.
So thank you for that, Jory. That made me laugh so hard. It was awesome.
Oh man. Okay. All right. I think
you done babbling, bro?
I think that was a record. I think we've babbled longer than we have
not.
Do you feel like it? No? Okay.
Well, probably. We
All
also want to say that there is an update.
Okay, we're not done.
There is an update for today in Middle-earth. We're dropping this section due to illiteracy.
Thank you.
It is a real affliction. We want to make you... So maybe we'll just... Illiteracy awareness is what we'll kind of promote here during this time.
Sure.
Since we can't read a lot of elven names, we need to be coached, I guess.
They're driving me nuts.
But,
yeah.
I think
for sake of time, too, in these podcasts.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's... we're cutting that out. Okay. So we're fine.
And it just kind of interferes with the reread.
Yeah, it does.
It was a nice way to fill time at the beginning, and here Ez and I, Right.
Exactly.
Shoot that at me. I dare you.
No, come at me, bro. Sorry, rubber bands are being shot across the table now.
You can tell you work with high schoolers.
Okay. Right. Here we go. We are there. We are into the reread.
We are,
right? Okay.
It's right there.
All right. So, this... we're working on those sound effects as we transition from one segment to the next. But this is chapter 9, At the Sign of the Prancing Pony. Man. So epic. Okay. Again,
we're rearing and ready to go.
Yes, we are.
Get
we
it?
are.
The horses.
I do.
Okay.
So are you doing the recap or you want me to do the recap?
Recap is pretty much out of white, out of mind.
You're right.
Am I right?
Out of white, out of mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, in last episode we just kind of went over. We were in the Downs. You know, we were
feeling kind of down in the Downs.
We really were. And
don't let the Barrows get you down.
The Barrows did have us down. You know what's something to remember when we get into this chapter is like 12 hours ago, we were 3 of our companions were laying like
on death's
zonked
door
out with a sword over their throats.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Game almost over.
Wow. Yeah.
Perspective, my friend.
Yeah. It was very, so anyways, this next chapter is going to be very different compared to that. We are out of the fog. Mm-hmm. Tom Bombadil came to our rescue and he recommended, did he not? He recommended that we go to, the Prancing Pony.
Oh yeah. I mean, he said it was the place to be. He said, and he said the landlord's of good quality, essentially is what he said. He spoke very highly of the landlord.
Right. He did.
Of
he did.
The inn.
Yeah. So yeah, Butterbur is going to welcome us to the Prancing Pony, and in this episode, our 4 hobbits venture into Bree, which it's very different than it is in the in the films.
I was kind of
a shock.
I don't remember reading it differently. And so, yeah, I'm glad you felt that too, because I definitely got that. It didn't feel as, I don't want to say it didn't feel threatening and ominous. It didn't feel as threatening and ominous. Tolkien describes his
yes,
my precious. He described Bree as kind of almost like a very unique place in a good way.
For sure.
For its diversity.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
So yeah, we end up at this nice little cozy inn. We are shown to our rooms, and we're presented with some food. We run into a couple fair folk. We go up and we join the company, and we sing, we dance, we drink, and then we're trying to what do you call it? Fly under the radar.
Yeah. Go unnoticed.
Unnoticed, incognito.
Right.
And that doesn't work so well.
And it's kind of ironic how it happens, isn't it?
It is. But we are, though, in this moment, introduced to one of our favorite characters.
Oh, my gosh.
Of the series.
WWAD. Well, I guess we'll get... No, there. I'm putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, you are.
Or pony.
Oh, my gosh.
Whoa. Speaking of which, do we want to go over the comments from the thread from the previous chapter?
Yeah, I think we should.
Putting the pony before the cart.
I think we should. Yeah.
Other way around.
Thank you for pulling that out. Let's
pulling on the reins there, bud. Come on.
Yeah. Let's jump into some of those.
Do you want me to read some of them?
We had some good comments, didn't we?
We did. So David Cockburn made a comment and said, when I first read the chapter about 25 years ago, I thought they were nothing more than the spirits of the folk whose burial mounds they were in. I can't remember where, but I did later read, probably in the multi-volume history of, that the Whites were put there by the Witch King during the war with Angmar to spite the Númenóreans, as this was a holy place for them. Mm-hmm. And so that's actually part of that rich history we alluded to last time. We said, it's there. Go look it up.
Yeah.
But there's the Witch King's involved and, ancient men, the Númenóreans, men of the West. And so that was really cool to have that kind of illuminated for us. So doesn't that just seem like the Witch King?
For sure.
He's an asshole.
Absolutely.
Got to break that rubber band.
Yep. Get it. That really, like it didn't hurt at all.
That was compromised rubber is what it was.
That's funny.
That's what she said.
Okay.
You got Michael Upshaw's there?
Yeah, so Michael Upshaw here. I also read this about 25 years ago. Recall having the same thoughts as David. For me, this was the first chapter that gave me some real sense of peril and terror and danger. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hadn't yet understood the true threat of the Black Riders. And Old Man Willow wasn't quite menacing enough to strike any fear in me. Mm-hmm. These Whites really set the stage for the dangers that we'll be up against going forward.
That's a great point.
Yeah, exactly. Side note concerning the ideas of Aragorn origin story. Oh, this is back to our
Yeah, the show news.
The show news, yeah. So excited for that. Imagining him as a young Aragorn on adventures with
Elrohir and Elladan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Killing orcs and punking dwarves to boot. Admittedly, anything more than half a season arc would likely get stale, and I think there are some other good stories to be told with them. So cool.
Yep, absolutely.
Agreed. Now, I back to his first bit there though with the Barrow-wights. Boy, they are a little. It is scarier.
And come to think of it now, they're kind of wraith-like too.
Yeah.
So it's almost like getting our mind back set on this is what you're going back into, man. This is the kind of ancient evil.
Right.
I mean, an Old Man Willow is too. And the Black Riders haven't unveiled their full scariness yet.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's, ramping us back up, I guess.
For sure, yeah. And I think the other thing that adds to the, like what makes it a little bit more scary is that the fog.
Yeah.
You can't see things. Yeah. Right. And you're disoriented.
Again.
And so, so there's that whole piece. And it does seem very spell-like. And they just, I guess on this one, I wasn't so sure that they, when you first read it, how do you get out of this? I know that Tom gave them this out, but are they going to use that? You know, I mean, how?
Yeah, will it really work?
Will it really work?
How will it work?
How often are they going to use it? Really, going to use it right after he gave it to you?
Right.
It just didn't,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So-
it was a definite. Whoa, hello.
Yeah.
Definitely a different level of terror that we were introduced to. I think. Yeah, the degree was turned up a little bit there. Excuse me.
Yeah, for sure.
Emma Rose Kolk also had something to say. Always love when she comments. She actually recently, I think, as in yesterday, from when we're recording, just talked to an individual whose mom or grandma was in charge of making the costumes for the original series.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Unreal. I think we needed to get Emma Rose on a interview.
I think we did.
She needs to interview this lady, track her down, and she could be like on the scene reporting.
Yeah. Send us that file. Yeah.
That's right. One of the many reasons why I was drawn to Lord of the Rings when I was younger is due to the fact that the Middle-earth reminds me so much. The Middle-earth? That Middle-earth reminds me so much of my home country, Norfolk. The area is very rural with shire-like fields, and I remember going on trips with my parents to barrows, ruined castles, and monasteries. It's also a coastal country. Gosh. It's also a coastal county, so the idea that elves are drawn to the sea really resonated with me. I'll put a few pics in the comments, and she did. It was awesome to see, so you can see what I mean. I'd love to see pics of anyone else is reminded. Oh my gosh, I cannot read. What is going on with me right now? I'd love to see pics if anyone else is reminded of the books by their home county state, like Amanda, Shire of America.
Yeah.
And so she even posted one. I commented. And a shot she had of her home reminded me exactly of like what I look out at every day. And so I posted a picture right next to that one and said, they look pretty similar, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was really cool.
They do. And I think I'm looking at it right now in her photos.
Yeah.
I might have to go take a picture of the creek that I talked about.
Yes, you do.
Which is, like the Withy Windle idea.
Dry Creek.
That's
right, man.
That's pretty cool,
That's
actually.
Awesome.
So awesome. Thank
you guys for sharing. That was beautiful. We also had Christopher Michael share a little bit about why, because we were kind of questioning, like, why didn't the Whites take the ring? Why didn't the ring want to go to the
for sure. Yes.
The Whites? What was going on there? And see if I can find it here.
If you can't find it, I can summarize it for you.
Why don't you go ahead and do
that? I got it, because he basically wasn't he talking about how like if they had if the ring, almost like the ring would know. I mean, the jewelry and treasure and stuff like that doesn't
leave there,
yeah.
Right? And so it wouldn't want to be taken by them because it's ultimately not going to get back. It's going to be quicker for it to get to Sauron through Frodo than through the Barrow-wights.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what he summarized for us.
Yeah, so that's so awesome. And by the way, guys, if we miss something, sometimes it just gets buried, and so send us a message or what have you, and we're more than willing to go back and discuss. We love the conversation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so and to finish that summary, I was in there basically. it hits the fan in the common room, and we meet our favorite character, and then we'll kind of go from there. It's kind of a shorter chapter in your mind. It is short. I think there's a lot to talk about, though. I'm wrong every day. You are. Today is no different. Today is no different. I like how you just said. I was just confirming what you were saying. We've broken this chapter into 3 parts, even though it is rather short. Part 1, Bree, history of Breeland. It's on page 146. And I always love when he describes. It seems like he's intentional about taking time before we enter a new realm of significance. He takes some time to explain the history, describe the way it looks. I love it. I'm transported every time he does it. Yeah. Part 2 is greeted at the gate, sort of. Page 147 to 151 in our version here. And then part 3 is a strider in the shadows, page 151 to 159. Okay. So we'll get in here and we'll fill up the corners. Awesome. Yes. So let's talk about this history a little bit. I guess, didn't realize, I think when I look at a map and when I think back, we get saturated with those movieisms, but that there are other villages. So you have this area, Breeland, right? Yeah. But there are other, and sort of that's a region. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. And then it's kind of, it has a couple different villages inside of it. Yeah, it mentioned, it described it as an island in the empty lands about. So these Bree and Staddle, Combe, and Archet are these communities, and they're kind of just this sort of like oasis. Well, not oasis, I guess. Well, sort of. And they described it better. An island in this area of just emptiness. It's sort of like it's standing by itself, surrounded by fields and tamed woodland. Right. You were talking about some of these places, and they're not. Doesn't seem like they're that far on the other side of the hill, or in a deep valley. Almost like they're kind of like little. Gosh, dude, not suburbs, but you could see them in the distance, maybe, right? Especially from on top of the hill. That's what it felt like. To me. Me too. Yeah. So on the edge of the Chetwood. Yes. Okay. So cool. Yep. Now it talks about the men and the people who live in Bree, right? Bree folk, rangers, and hobbits. Oh my! Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So they were, brown-haired, broad, rather short, cheerful, and independent. They belonged to nobody but themselves. They kind of sound like hobbits, don't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Even the men. It's just interesting. Exactly. Yeah. But they were more friendly and familiar with hobbits, dwarves, elves, and other inhabitants of the world about them. I thought that was kind of neat. So cool. More so than the usual big people. Yeah, the big folk, right? Would be. Right. So I don't know if you're going to talk about this later or not, but you had mentioned to me it's the idea that it's a very diverse place. Yeah. And what does he say? He says it's kind of unparalleled, unmatched in any other part of Middle-earth. It's unique in that sense, that there's this diverse group of people that normally don't intermingle, let alone live together, and they do it in relative harmony and peace. Right. Yeah, and they get along. Well, and that's so because we'll get there. But the hobbits that are here, like I get, you don't get any of that in the movies. No, none whatsoever. And even like we'll get there again later. But the dwarves. They've got dwarves. I don't think they mention dwarves right here, do they? Did they mention dwarves? But there are dwarves there. No, they do. They do. Hobbits, dwarves, elves, and other inhabitants. Yeah. There you go. And it's also, I guess it's also that way because it is, high traffic area, right? You got the Great Word. You can't talk today. It's from chewing all that steak, dude. From choking all that steak, you were. I mean, you were. Oh God, you just gross people out on that. They're fine. Well, okay. Should I do the firework? Emma will tell us if she's fine. Okay. Well, I apologize, everyone. But anyways, no. You're right though. It's at this crossroads, right? It's at this. The Greenway and the Great Road. Right. That's a tongue twister. Try and say that 10 times fast. The Greenway and the Great Road. Faster. The Greenway and the Great Road. Faster. Greenway and the Great Road. Faster. The road, man. Okay. But you're right. So it is sort of a traveling. I mean, I think I don't know if we talk about this later on or not, but Thorin and Gandalf meeting up at one point, right? Yep. And this is sort of a meetup place there, good little tie back.
And maybe it's more like there was a history of, because they also talk about, I know that we're kind of all over the place. We're a couple of butterburs here. But there used to be more travel. It was an area of more historical. It used to be more of a hub than it is now. Like the Greenway is called the Greenway because the grass is growing up through the road, right?
Right.
And it's not as traveled, and it's kind of more of a dangerous route to take. And they said, comings and goings on the Great Road was becoming scarcer and scarcer.
Okay.
Sorry, I think I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm about to let's talk about the people who live there, right? So it says
people.
According to their own tales, they were the first original inhabitants and were the descendants of the first men that ever wandered into the West.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That is cool.
So cool.
So, and they kind of like they're bragging, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
We're the originals.
Right. So few had survived the turmoils of the elder days, but when the kings returned again over the great sea, they had found the Bremen still there, and they were still there now, when the memory of the old kings had faded into the grass. So a hardy folk.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, to have survived all this, like the ones that are still around. Yeah. I mean, they're tough as nails, right? And even the way they're described. You said they're kind of shorter and stouter, dark brown hair, broad. You don't want to mess with Bree folk.
Right, exactly.
Is what I'm thinking.
And there's one more line here. It says, "In those days, no other men had settled dwellings so far west."
Thanks for stealing my thunder.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. They're within 100 leagues of the Shire. Right? Is that what it said?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're even bold in that respect. Like that, we've gone the farthest west. We're from the oldest group of people. What up?
Like, what's the significance of that? That they are, that less people would travel this far west? Is it just that they're that far removed from the modern kingdoms of Rohan and Gondor?
Probably right.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're kind of in a weird way they're closer to the sea, which was their origins. Okay. Right, and so maybe that's even bolder because they came here and they became a part of this world, and then they're leaning more of that. I don't know. It's interesting. Also, it's like the elves when they leave they go west,
right?
And so maybe it's more bold to be in that region.
And they're talking about the Numenorian kings who went to Numenor, and then once it was sunk and drowned or what have you, and they're destroyed, and they came back,
right?
They're still here.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's an area of history
no, but I think that's exactly what it's talking about.
There you go, baby.
Right? I mean, so I don't know. That's kind of cool.
That is really cool
because it almost puts them in the different
category of men, aren't they?
Yeah. Men of the West.
Men of the West.
So,
but maybe they don't because they're removed from those kingdoms. They don't get the kind of credit that they deserve.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
They're sort of in the same way that hobbits are kind of poo-pooed. Maybe they're sort of the man version of that.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like, man, those Bree folk. They mingle with hobbits and dwarves, and maybe, I don't know. Well, they're proud, but I wonder how everyone else sees them.
Well, and it's funny too. Like at the very end of this chapter, you get a very special someone talking about queer folk inside of it's all from a certain point of view, perspective, right? And who is queer and who is not.
Obi-Wan said that.
He did.
Page.
He's not in. Is it in this book? I didn't know if Obi-Wan made it in this book or not.
Well, it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, though. So anyway, so let's move on a little bit though. But that's just a little background context. We can get into more of that. Hopefully, when we post the thread, people can talk a little bit more about that history. Yep. I would love to hear some of that.
And we do hear the term Rangers for the first time, right?
Good. Yes.
And that the Bree folk are separate from them, and they know nothing of their origin. Taller and darker than the men of Bree, were believed to have strange powers of sight and hearing and understand the languages of beasts and birds. They roamed at will southwards and eastwards, even as far as the Misty Mountains, but they were now few and rarely seen. When they appeared, they brought news from afar and told strange forgotten tales, which were eagerly listened to, but the Bree folk did not make friends of them.
Right. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Because they're pretty friendly with everybody else, aren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the connection too between the Bree folk and the... I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, the Rangers?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you said this is a hub, sort of travel back and forth, and it's a jumping off point for them to go southward and east.
Yes.
Yes. But we know from earlier chapters that, again, they also were westward as well, too, kind of keeping eyes on things.
Yeah.
Well, that was really at Gandalf's, request, and that might have just been one ranger.
True.
True. Perhaps.
Well, regardless, nowhere else in the world was this peculiar but excellent arrangement to be found. I thought that was pretty neat. Diversity is a good thing, as we all know, and even back then, old Tolkien was rallying for it.
Right. Now, there were also many families of hobbits.
Right. This is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah. And they claim to be the oldest settlement of hobbits in the world.
Right.
That was kind of cool. Okay.
And how do they think about the Shire hobbits, man? Well, I'm sorry, never mind. The Shire hobbits consider, it's amazing, where did that elitist attitude come from with the Shire hobbits? Because they consider those of Bree as outsiders, very little interest, and dull and uncouth. Isn't it just, you think the original hobbits, the OG hobbits, would have that attitude, and they don't.
Right.
It's those from the Shire.
Well, and that's what I was trying to get to with the men of the West, right? So the idea that you're almost, this is what's kind of crazy to me. And I think of, and I know this is not really what Tolkien was going for, but you think it in our own country, at least for you and I, venturing west was sort of
westward ho the wagons, man.
Exactly, right? The idea that you would, so these men are bragging that they are the westward men. And again,
I got it.
That does also refer to some of the kingdoms that were there too, I believe.
Yeah.
But with the hobbits, same sort of thing. So you've got these eastward hobbits, in Breland. But then as you go west, that would have been the expansion, right? They were moving west.
That's true.
And so it's interesting the way the Shire folk look back east.
But how ironic is that? Because they don't value adventure.
I know, that's what I was getting to.
Oh, sorry.
No,
being adventurous is a bad thing.
Right.
But they're more proud because they had been adventurous and gone more west.
They're those pioneer...
they're just hypocritical.
Well, that was like years ago. That was years ago, right?
Yeah.
That's true. So that's why old Took and those guys were kind of... I don't know. Who knows how long ago it was that the Shire was settled. But...
Reckon I don't.
Well, and then you've got, according to... And I'm just all over the place here, but the Shire... And then you've got the expansion back across east.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So
I know.
So there's that whole piece.
It's confusing.
But I don't know.
They were underground the whole time. I'm convinced.
Okay, cool.
Just one long hole, hobbit hole.
Yeah. So anyways, they claim to be the oldest settlement of the hobbits in the world. One that was founded long before even the Brandywine was crossed and the Shire colonized. They lived mostly in Staddle, though there were some in Bree itself, especially on the higher slopes of the hill above the houses of the men. It says that they often, they were friendly. They were on friendly terms.
Yeah.
They kind of mind their own affairs and did their own things, but they all got along. They got along with the big folk and one another.
And interesting, too, that they say there was Bree blood in the brandy box.
Yes.
Did you catch that part?
Yes. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
It does.
Makes total sense.
So let's see here. Moving on a little bit. They talk a little bit more about their that the Bree folk, big and little, didn't travel much for being this hub, right, of where travelers may come. They do that. They like the idea of getting news.
They do.
We see that from Butterbur when he's inviting them into the company.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that's kind of interesting. They're settled and they're well established, and they've been that way for years. It sounds like, right? Because they didn't move.
Right.
And when the old kings come back, they're still there.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right. Yeah,
that's just in their nature and culture.
That's right.
Right.
It's cultural, man. You wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't get it. So let's see. So the Shire hobbits refer to those of Bree and to any other that lived beyond the borders as outsiders and took very little interest in them. They considered them dull, etc.
Yep, uncouth.
Right. There were probably many more outsiders scattered about in the west of the world in those days than the people of the Shire imagined. So it's almost like, and I don't know if this is true or not, but like as you go west, is it more isolated? Is it more?
Well, that I guess, I mean that's the message we're sent, right? Is that the Shire is this
country
idyllic existence that's been allowed to exist because of its isolation.
Yeah.
Right? It is removed, so far removed from Mordor and the
Right.
turmoil that has with Gondor. And I mean, it's even on the other side of them. No, it's not, but it's a long distance from even Rivendell and the Elven influence. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be touched by all that stuff. It's something that's not even on
the radar.
Know, yeah. On the White Council's mind, and they just they don't really pay much attention there. They're always looking east.
Kind of like Amanda.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we got next?
Well, he makes a little note that no matter what the Shire hobbits think about the Breland hobbits, that they're decent and prosperous and no more rustic than most of their distant relatives inside. And that's where he says, that there's Bree blood in the Brandy Bucks. Do you want to read a little description of Bree itself?
Sure, go for it. Yeah.
The village. So the village of Bree, and I just see again, I love when he describes this stuff. You can imagine the place in your mind. He's so good with painting a picture. He's the Bob Ross of literary world. The village of Bree had some 100 stone houses of the big folk, mostly above the road, nestling on the hillside with windows looking west. There you go. Mm-hmm. There's another theme running through this entire chapter, bro. On that side, running in more than half a circle from the hill and back to it, there was a deep dike with a thick hedge on the inner side. Over this, the road crossed by a causeway. But where it pierced the hedge, it was barred by a great gate. There was another gate in the southern corner where the road ran out of the village. The gates were closed at nightfall, but just inside them were small lodges for the gatekeepers. Got to keep them comfortable. Mm-hmm. Down on the road, where it swept to the right to go round the foot of the hill, there was a large inn. It had been built long ago when the traffic on the roads had been far greater. So here you go. We get this idea that traffic slowed down a bit, less travelers. This isn't the heyday of Bree.
Yeah.
For Bree stood at an old meeting of ways. Another ancient road crossed the east road just outside the dike at the western end of the village, and in former days men and other folk of various sorts had traveled much on it. Strange as news from Bree was still a saying in the East Farthing, descending from those days when the news from north, south, and east could be heard in the inn, and when the Shire hobbits used to go more often to hear about it. Interesting.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But the northern lands had long been desolate, and the north road was now seldom used. It was grass-grown, and the Bree folk... Can't read. The Bree folk called it the Greenway.
Awesome.
You want to keep going? I can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can you? Can you actually? I'm just kidding.
Hilarious.
No, please do. But because then we'll move on. We'll move on to the next segment. So yeah.
Okay. The Inn of Bree was still there, however, and the innkeeper was an important person. His house was a meeting place for the idle, talkative, and inquisitive among the inhabitants, large and small of the 4 villages, and a resort of rangers and other wanderers, and for such travelers, mostly dwarves, as still journeyed on the east road to and from the mountains.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a place that I'm trying to think of if there's another place like this later on that has this. It's an inn, mm-hmm. And it still feels like I don't know. I'm even thinking back to The Hobbit, and for a place that's like an inn where you have a tavern and you're having a good beer and stuff like that. That's been mentioned. We've got the Green Dragon, and we've got oh gosh, help me out. Was it? Well, I'm missing another one here. No, I'm not. Am I? Is there another tavern that's mentioned earlier on? You got the Green Dragon,
the Ivy Bush.
The Ivy Bush. Thank you.
The Golden Perch, which we never made it to.
Yes,
unfortunately.
But it seems like after this, is there any real more mention of like this type of inn, tavern, etc., whatever, you know what I'm talking about? What are you doing over there? What are you doing over there?
Excuse me, I had some gas.
I feel like you're queuing something up that I don't want to
I was trying to get a chunk of steak out of my teeth.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I am queuing something up.
Okay, fine.
Now the suspense is, or the element of surprise.
Well,
Ezra,
you're acting,
giving myself away.
You're acting all weird over there. So I don't know
is there another... not to my recollection, man. I mean, but it's been a while, brother. It's been a while.
Well, I don't know.
We come to homely houses.
Yeah, we do. Okay, I guess my point with this is that you have this variety of people, right? Where you're intermixing with a bunch of different people on different, walks of life, doing different things, etc.
Yeah. Did your voice
and
start again?
It did again. Thank you for calling it out to everyone.
Must have been the smoke outside, huh?
It was the smoke. It's getting to me. What else was I going to say about that? Just that when you get
pub tavern feel.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Right.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say this is the last time.
I mean, we're on the spot here, thinking 2-3 books ahead.
On the way back home, we get that.
Sure. Yeah. But
we're going into battle here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So this is the last little feel that we get.
And this, yes, and as far as they know anyway, we're still pretty is that cold enough for you, that coffee? Mm-hmm. The quest is still pretty undiscovered at this point.
Yeah.
So later on, to pop into a pub and be like, hey man, need a couple of cold beers. There's a lot of cool people around here.
Right.
You're going to want to stay out of sight.
Well, because it is all
our
across
mission
country.
And our mission becomes much more secretive. You couldn't do it if you wanted.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's relish this a little bit. And
are we going to make our way in here? We getting into the
I think we are. We're going to step into
the pony.
We're greeted at the gate. Okay, sort of.
Yeah.
We're greeted at the gate first. So we've read the description there. We have Harry at the gate.
That's right.
Who is pretty suspicious, not really trusting.
Harry's scary.
What's going on here? It's his job to ask questions.
It is his business, So I mean, that's sort of what he follows it up with. He says, that's my business to, ask questions after nightfall. Mm-hmm. So, but he asks, what do you want? Where do you come from? He's pretty gruff about it too. So it's not a welcoming voice that the hobbits are hearing. Frodo says we're making for the inn. We're journeying east and can't go any further tonight. He's surprised to see hobbits, and especially Shire hobbits.
Right.
And we know now why. It's a rare thing. Wants to know, what are you doing here? What's your business? What are your names? Names and business are our own. Doesn't seem to be a good place to discuss them, Frodo says, not liking the look of the man nor the tone of his voice. You want to take over there, Harry?
No, I just, I mean, it reminded me of...
The movie nailed it.
The movie did nail it. But these things shouldn't really be discussed outside in the dark like this.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? I mean,
one of those recurring,
we're not really going to talk about it out here, friend.
Right.
Let's step inside.
And isn't it funny? It takes you back to a time where that was a reality. Like now we just talk about whatever we want, whenever we want, wherever we want. But back in the day, you didn't do that, man. Mm-hmm. Because if word got back that you'd said something or done something the wrong way, your life was on the line. Now it's like you might get criticized online. But,
and it's also, though, this one interaction here is going to trickle back through the town. I mean,
right.
So they want to make sure that they don't give anything away here. Just
right, that's true.
Get us on in and
it just makes me think of a more menacing world.
Yeah.
In time. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, but they get through though, right?
He does apologize. He says, I don't mean any offense, it's just my job.
Yeah. And it is.
Right.
So he wishes them good night. He could see the lantern light that the man, was still eyeing them curiously. So when he looks back, this guy's still like, that's a great little image for me actually to look back and this guy's still looking at them go away. And isn't this is the point where we get like a shadowy figure?
Yeah. And so he's also kind of curious too. Frodo's like, why is he, oh my gosh. He was wondering why the man was so suspicious and whether any one of them had been asking for news of a party of hobbits.
Right. Okay.
Could it have been Gandalf? So there's still that glimmer of hope. Is Gandalf here?
Right.
We keep coming to every next phase. Is Gandalf here? Is Gandalf here? Did he make it back this far? Is he waiting for us? Are we on the right path?
Well, and that's a fair thing because, they've been delayed in the forest and in the downs as Frodo mentions. That's his thought process, right?
And they're following
time for him to catch up and to,
And they went the direction that Gandalf advised, and then they got the tip from Tom, and they probably think, if Tom advises to go here, it's a place Gandalf also might be, so from trustworthy advice.
Sure.
But yeah, you're right. We do get this creepy little imagery. Or is it so creepy? We don't, at this point, we don't really know. Could you touch my foot like that again? That was nice.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, boy.
So
you want to read that part? Read that part.
Well, just, so as soon as his back was turned, talking about the gatekeeper, a dark figure climbed quickly in over the gate and melted into the shadows of the village street.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Just paints, you can just visualize that.
Yeah.
And you're immediately thinking, who?
Right.
Why? Mm-hmm. Where are we going to run into this character?
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Yep, a little scary.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are, and they were told by Tom Bombadil to look for the sign, right?
That's right.
They were looking for the sign of the Prancing Pony.
Yep.
And they rode up a gentle slope, passing over a couple houses, or by a couple houses. Sam stared up at the end with its 3-story. Hey, Winnie, and many windows, and felt his heart sink. He had imagined himself meeting giants taller than trees and other creatures even more terrifying sometime or other in the course of this journey.
Yeah.
So what is he disappointed here at that moment he was finding his first sight of men and their tall houses quite enough.
I think he's freaked out.
Okay, so he is freaked out.
Yeah, he's overwhelmed. I don't think Sam likes the sight of this place.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, no, that's kind of what I'm getting to. I think maybe he thought that feeling was going to come with something more ominous,
more
right?
dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And he's almost probably surprised that this place is causing such anxiety, so much fear.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, even so much that he goes on, he says, we should go find some hobbit folk that would take us in. It would be more home-like.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So ditch this inn, right? And then let's
find some of our kin.
Right.
And that's where Frodo says, hey, look, Tom Bombadil recommended it. Mm-hmm. So again, what Tom says, man, we stick with. Tom knows what he's talking about.
Sure.
I expect it's home-like enough on the inside, he says.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So, and as
this is where it departs a little bit, does it not?
Yeah.
Okay, so like in the movie, and I understand why they did it. You're setting the tone, you're building the tension, whatever. But the description of the inn, we see it in the movie. It's rainy, it's dark, the buildings are slanted over, wet, and then even on the colors on the inside, they're like yellow, like piss colored, greenish. It's not a pleasant place, but it says here, even from the outside, the inn looked a pleasant house to familiar eyes.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the key point, to familiar eyes. Maybe to unfamiliar eyes, it's a little different. But to me, I'm thinking, so maybe
good
that's
catch on the
maybe that's
familiar
both.
eyes.
Maybe that's both. Well,
Yeah.
he's subtle in the way he says that. So maybe that's what he's saying. Maybe only to familiar eyes, it's a pleasant place. But it had a front on the road and 2 wings running back on land partly cut out of the lower slopes of the hill. So there you go. Sounds like it's connected to the earth. So that would appeal to hobbits, I would think.
Right.
So that at the rear, the second floor windows were level with the ground. There was a wide arch leading to the courtyard between the 2 wings, and on the left, under the arch, there was a large doorway reached by a few broad steps. The door was open, and light streamed out of it. Again, we've got this light streaming out. It makes me think of Crick Hollow right away, right? Welcoming you in. So that doesn't sound too bad so far to me. Above the arch, there was a lamp, and beneath it swung a large signboard. A fat white pony reared up on its hind legs. Over the door was painted in white letters, "The Prancing Pony by Barlam and Butterbur." Many of the lower windows showed lights behind thick curtains.
Yeah, and really what you got in that description is the idea, almost like a hotel, right? You've got these 2 wings where people can stay, right, back in those areas, because really you just get the idea, in the show you get this, like, it's just an up and down.
Yeah.
Sort of like...
kind of, there were a bunch of buildings kind of packed tight together. And
right.
Yeah, like more like a row of houses than...
Right. It didn't really seem like that there was anywhere to stay necessarily.
You're right.
So except
and you walk in and it's that main parlor.
Like the downstairs, but then like the second or third floor. Because isn't that in the movie they're on like the second or third floor?
Yeah, I think they're up in Strider's room, and that's up.
Yeah, elevated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because this is pretty neat. They end up
it's cool.
getting shown to some hobbit quarters here. So let's...
Yeah, and what brings them in, dude? Again, this is so interesting. The power of music and the power of song. They hesitated outside in the gloom. Someone began singing a merry song inside, and many cheerful voices joined loudly in the chorus. Yeah! They listened to this encouraging sound for a moment, and then got off their ponies. The song ended, and there was a burst of laughter and clapping. They led their ponies under the arch, and leaving them standing in the yard, they climbed up the steps. Frodo went forward and nearly bumped into a short fat man with a bald head and a red face. He had a white apron on and was bustling out the door and in through another, carrying a tray laden with full mugs. So they're kind of hesitating at first.
Yeah. Well, you really, I mean.
There's some hesitation at first. And then this song, it almost kind of sounds like something you can envision standing outside the Green Dragon.
Sure.
Or the Ivy Bush, right? And so it almost kind of settles. I imagine it settling Sam down a little bit.
Right.
Thinking, okay, maybe this isn't so scary. Those are familiar sounds.
Well, and that's really what I do when I creep up to your big green door here. I just stop, I listen, and once I hear the laughter and the cheerful voices, the singing and the clanking of dishes and dishware, then I
So should I be creeped out that you listen
roll in
to my house before you come in,
I'm
or
just
should I
making sure
feel
everything's
bad
okay.
that you're scared to come here?
Both. They're both pretty messed up.
Wow.
But no, you're right. It's his power. It's there's a drawing power in that, right? That they want to go in and it sounds, like a harmonious, nice place to be.
But that doesn't match necessarily the movies.
No.
And we discussed why. But it's just interesting to see how this is a little bit different.
Yep.
Right.
Butterbur is a pretty he's a pretty busy fellow though. And we get this right away.
Yeah.
He's managing this
Half a minute, if you please.
Yeah, almost by himself. Seems like he's by himself quite a bit here. He's got Knob, but he's not really.
I think he's stretched it a little thin.
Yeah, he is for sure.
Yeah.
Can we begin, Frodo? Half a minute, if you please. Shout at the man over his shoulder, and then boom, he's vanished into the cloud of smoke and
Battle of Voices,
doing his thing, right? So, and he comes back and he's very polite. Good evening, little master. What may you be wanting? Beds for 4 and stabling for 5 ponies, if that can be managed. Are you Mr. Butterbur? That's right. Barleyman is my name. Barleyman Butterbur. At your service. And if you notice, too, something interesting about... You remember how Tom had a real... Almost like a style to his voice?
Oh, yeah.
I almost noticed something about this guy's voice.
Yep.
And the way he talks.
I hadn't identified that before now, but you're spot on, dude.
Right.
He absolutely has.
Because at first I thought it sounded like Tom, and then I'm like, nah, it's a little different than Tom's. Mm-hmm. But it has almost like I don't know what you call it, like a cadence or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a signature sound almost. Yeah, Barleyman definitely has that.
Yeah, just in the way that he speaks.
After his intro here, though, after he's you're from the Shire, he said, and then suddenly he clapped his hands to his forehead as if trying to remember something. Hobbits, he cried. Now, what does that remind me of? Might I ask your names? I wrote right next to that, I am Barleyman, with an exclamation point.
Wow. Yeah. True.
I am.
You are.
I am. Wasn't I saying this to you before that I wish I was a Strider, but in reality I'm probably a Barleyman.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
I just think like this dude is...
You're a cross between the two.
Sure. Yeah. I'm Barleyman Longshanks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how he it's either because he's so busy that he's forgetful, or he's forgetful because he's so busy.
Yeah, it seems like he's constantly got something to do, and they talk about that. He has this. They'll eventually mention like this constant stream of talking.
Yeah,
he's always just talking, right?
Yeah.
And so when you speak that many words and you listen to that, that many people speak that many words.
Yeah.
You can see why he's a little bit sort of like.
Yeah, he's inundated.
There's something here I was supposed to remember, and I don't.
Yeah. Can I tell you how often I feel like that in my life?
Probably on
daily,
every day. Yeah.
Right.
Goodness.
Hey.
So they go over their names, right? So Mr. Took, Mr. Brandybuck, said Frodo, and this is Sam Gamgee. My name is Underhill. Okay. Underhill.
Yes.
And that, so as he snaps his fingers, he gets his good buddy.
Old Knob
there to help out. And I love this character. I wish we would have had this character in.
I know, Knob's cool.
Just because he seems like he's grinning and he's winking.
Yeah.
A grin and a wink.
Yeah.
Right? And then he's like off doing his thing, So I don't know. He's just kind of a funny character. And he takes good care. He takes good care.
He does. He looks after his fellow. He is a hobbit, right?
He's a hobbit, but is he that he's like on that you know how Sam sort of serves Frodo?
Yeah.
And this is
he's
one of those working class hobbits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to be, So
he is. He probably is. He and Sam could probably have a conversation or two.
And I'm surprised that they don't have much of it.
I guess we don't know. We could imagine that maybe they do.
Sure,
but He's on the clock.
Right, exactly.
So he's not like, when they go to the parlor, he's not hanging out with Sam going, hey, man, the thing about Masters is,
right.
Don't even tell me, sister. I know.
Right. I thought this was pretty neat. So they're wanting to stable those ponies.
Yeah.
And he says, where's Bob?
Oh, yeah, Knob and Bob.
Knob and Bob, as the landlord. You don't know? Well, find him. Double sharp. I haven't got 6 legs nor 6 eyes neither. Tell Bob there's 5 ponies that need to be stabled. He must find room somehow. Knob trotted off with a grin and a wink.
I like also, too, how he Tolkien interchanges Mr. Butterbur, the landlord, and Barliman. And it's cool because it tells us, obviously, if we were unclear by the sign, exactly who he is.
Right.
But it also kind of matches his personality. Mm-hmm. It's like this, no that. Yeah.
Right.
No, what I mean? What is it? What? Who?
Right.
The landlord. I mean, Barliman. I mean, Mr. Butterbur. I mean,
yep. Exactly.
It's like great. It's so cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, anyways, he gets the saddles, gets the horses, the ponies. They're going to figure out that situation. And well, now what was I going to say? That's what Butterbur says. No, that's what Butterbur says.
Right. Yeah,
right.
Of course.
What was I going to say?
One thought drives out another.
Tapping his forehead. One thing drives out another. Yeah. I'm that busy tonight. My head is going round. There's a party that came up the Greenway from down south last night. And that was strange enough to begin with. Mm-hmm. So what's that all about? Let's stop right there for a second. Is there more to that? Are these the characters that we'll see later in the company? Some strangers.
Gotta be.
Right?
Gotta be.
There's a party that came up the Greenway from down south last night. And that was strange enough
to begin with.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
And it
there's
wasn't just like one person. It was a party. Yeah.
Then there's a traveling company of dwarves going west in the evening, and now there's you. Mm-hmm. If you weren't hobbits, I doubt we could house you.
Right. But they've got a couple.
Have some hobbit-sized rooms available.
Couple of those on the ground floor.
Yep.
So they are shown to those, and these are neat. This is a neat little, like just the way it's described that when they're taken back down through there, it just it feels good, and I think it sort of probably relieved some of Sam's anxiety a little bit to be shown hobbit quarters, I guess.
Yep. Yep. And they even have round windows.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is very accommodating.
Right. Exactly. So
very thoughtful.
Off he went at last. So basically, he takes them down there to their room. Oh, he gives them like the bell to sort of ring to say, if you need anything, let me know. If he don't come, ring and shout. Just being honest, I mean, hey, might have to get his attention. Hey,
that's right.
Knob.
Hey, no, oi. Well, and maybe he's. Knob's also pretty busy, is he not?
Sure.
So I mean, maybe he's kind of got the Barliman effect going on. If you ring, he doesn't necessarily hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so off he went, and he left them feeling rather breathless. He seemed capable of endless stream of talk. However busy he might be, they found themselves in a small and cozy room. Actually, I meant to stop right before however busy he may be. This endless stream of talk, and I just, again, characterizing this, landlord. He speaks to in very like clipped sentences or something, very short.
Dude, in the same way that like
get to the point, but yet he could keep it up.
Yeah.
But I think it's because he's talking to so many different people.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool because in the same way Tom is almost a personification of where he lives.
Yeah.
Barliman's kind of a human representation of what Bree used to be.
Right.
This hub, and he's just a human hub of conversations and fragments and bits and pieces, and he's moving 1,000,000 miles a minute, and he's always got something he's forgetting. And
yeah,
cool, man. My kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
My kind of guy.
Absolutely. And this is good. They get to fill up on a little bit of some beer, right?
Get some beer in you, boy.
They get washed up, and they get a good beer in them, and that's just kind of
good deep mugs of beer.
And again, where were they just? I mean, how many hours ago?
Right. On death's doorbed. Doorstep.
Right. Exactly, Lane. You're exactly right. And so they were just, I don't know. It's just nice that they have this drink and they're able to relax,
Speaking
put their feet
of which,
up.
let's
You know,
get. I
we
mean,
should have one.
good
You should have had
Lord.
one about 20,
Lord
30
bless
minutes
them.
ago.
Yeah. They also have some, like you said, there's some hot soup, cold meats, a blackberry tart, new loaves, slabs of butter, and half-ripe cheese. Good plain food, as good as the Shire could show, and home-like enough to dispel, here it is, the last of Sam's misgivings. Already much relieved, as you said, by the excellent beer.
Yeah. We were talking about this in our Facebook Live sort of, video that we did earlier, but...
Which is by no doubt, at this time, circling the interweb.
No, for sure. Yeah,
Probably going
for sure.
virus or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Oh, viral.
You're ridiculous. So, but the idea that when you come to an inn, whatever they have is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Really.
They didn't lay out a menu.
Meat. Yeah. It's like, and this is a funny aside here. I don't know if I feel like I've already said this on a previous episode, but I can't remember if I did or not. So like during a bachelor party, I ended up going to a little place in Cinderberg. Have I told this story about the meats?
That was on minute 24.
Was that minute
20?
Yeah.
3.
Shut your mouth. You don't know.
You have not.
Okay.
Something about meats? On a bachelor party? I don't know if that's a good
that's probably not a good. But anyways, just quickly.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It was, we went to this, it was Cinderberg, right? So it's a small little town. I've never eaten at this place before. And we stop in early in the morning, had a great night the night before, destroying, we had a bachelor card for my friend, and then we had to destroy it because he was giving up his bachelor card, his bachelor life.
Did you go to the foxhole?
No, we didn't go to the foxhole. Okay, no, but we just had to get rid of it's over. I had to seal it away, lock it, destroy the bachelor card. That's what you do. As the best man, that's what you do.
Yeah.
But anyways, we ended up eating some breakfast at this restaurant, and we go in, and their menu literally just says like for breakfast you can have, it just says meat, cheese, and toast. And then like the drink. I mean, it was just like
I like that,
and like. It's all it said. And so like my buddy Sam looks over at me and he's just like, so Gamgee? I guess, no, well, yeah, he's kind of like Sam Gamgee.
Okay.
But he says, so I guess we'll have the meat. I don't like, you know what I'm saying? So when the person, the person's like, well, we have X, Y, it actually had a couple of different varieties, but it's the same idea that we'll have the meat, whatever you have. We'll have it.
And I think that's almost kind of old worldy too, dude, because I remember we took, I went on a collegians tour in Europe, and we stayed some places in Austria, Italy, Switzerland, Germany. Yeah. And some of those, they were like hotels. Some of the hotels we stayed in the morning, it was like, it's like a continental breakfast. Sure. It's the same thing every day. Yeah. And they had like, at this specific place I'm remembering, they had croissants or croissant. They had, a various selection of meats. Cured meats. Okay. They had some cheese and they had some jelly. Wow. That was breakfast. Wow. That was it. There weren't options. It was just, I guess there are always options, but it was 4 basic things. No one had any problems with it. It was what was available.
I think that's cool. I love that. I think that's neat is that you would go in and whatever they've got cooking on the fire, we'll have a bit of that. Do you have any of that left? We're going to have some of that. So they got some ripe cheese, some bread.
Some chewy steak.
Just the basics. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyways, sorry, quick aside there.
No, I like
that. That was kind of
that's very Lane Smith of you.
Neat connection.
Rubbing off on you.
Yeah. All right. So now after they've had their drink and their meal, and it's a good. This is like, because we have a couple chapters here where this is we're gonna get into some. Quit mocking me over there. He's mocking me. Sick and tired of you. This episode,
sign language.
You have been more distracting this episode than you ever have been. And I think it's the Butterbur connection. I don't know what's wrong with you today.
I feel like licensed to be myself. Excuse me.
Can I just finish my thought?
I feel like it's okay because Bartleman, I think he's a hero.
Can I finish? My thought.
Go for it.
Okay. No.
Half a minute.
Okay. So they get this meal. The reason I like this meal though is because after this they got to ration out some stuff. They've got to gather. It's good. So this is like a good meal. This is that we have a long stretch here, and you thought we had that long stretch between Tom's and wherever they were going, but that really isn't the case.
True.
This is sort of that last place where they have like a good solid meal.
And maybe also the point too that it feels helpful, like doing this reread because, like, stuff ahead, I'm not going to lie. Stuff ahead, the ins and outs and the nitty-gritty details are forgotten to me. You know, because it's been a few years. And, yeah. One thing drives out another.
Yes, it does.
But I guess it's helping us live in that same space that they are. Do they really know if this is the last stretch? So every chance you have for a good meal, you're going to take it because you don't know if the peril is about to increase and it's your last good meal for a while.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, I almost wonder how, there's two ways. You either don't enjoy it because you're thinking, is this the last time? You're consumed with that thought. Or you relish it because, you know, it might be. And maybe the conflict of both within each of them, too, of being like, wow, is this the last time I'm going to have a beer for a while? Is this the last time I'm going to have something savory to eat? And just and not only that, but the time and peace and quiet to take it in. Yeah, for sure. Not rushed, not, with this danger right on top of me. You know? Yeah,
for sure. Now, to kind of get us, to get us kind of caught up to where, we got to get into the.
Are we lagging behind us?
Well, we are actually a little bit, but that's fine.
So they split up.
They split up here, but what's important to come join the company is what I thought was interesting. Butterbur wants them to join the company, and that feels to me like this is a group of regulars, but then also the overall company. I bet you there's a group of regulars, but then we also have the mixing in of this party.
Yes, sure.
We have the dwarves and so on, but I bet you there's those regulars, don't you?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so I feel like that's what I think he's referring to the overall company, but then it's just a neat little term, a choice in word.
Absolutely.
And so he asked them to join, and they decide to join, but everyone except for Mary, right?
Yep. Mary wants to sit this one out. What are his exact words? Be too stuffy for him?
Yeah, be a little bit too stuffy. I shall sit here quietly by the fire for a bit, and perhaps go out later for a sniff of the air.
Which we're using like that term commonplace, you and I now, aren't we?
We really are, actually.
Like later tonight, we're going to go out for a sniff of air.
No, I used it in class the other day. We have a courtyard, and I was like walking my kids. We're taking the long. I was like, you guys want to take the long way back to class? Like we're walking in between classes, and they're like, yeah, and I was like, let's go across the courtyard, get a little sniff of the air.
That's right. You use it on personal time too, I know.
Yeah. So, anyways, he also says, mind your P's and Q's, and don't forget that you're supposed to be escaping in secret, and are still on the high road, and not very far from the Shire.
Right.
And Pippin says back to him, all right, mind yourself, don't get lost, and don't forget that it's safer indoors.
So we were talking earlier about how Pippin is the ultimate little man. Not only is he a hobbit, but he's got like that whole. He's like a little terrier or something. Like he's always. He'll always give it back as well as he takes it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, I do. Yeah. And he actually, I don't know. It's almost like I think he might have been told at one point that it's safer. And I can't remember they're always kind of chipping at each other, right, and giving each other advice. Like, well, you're going to advise me? Yeah. Oh, no, I'm going to advise you.
Right.
Let me give you a little advice, buddy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, cool.
Before we get into this pub, I mean, we gotta take a second.
Okay.
I'm having so much fun with you that I think, I don't know, it would be so cool to have a podcast.
Yeah, sure.
I think we should start a podcast.
Yeah, let's start a podcast. Agree? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The most important thing though is the name. We got to get the name just right. So what?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Wow. The Town Hall Meeting podcast.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
That was in here. I don't know if we mentioned that. No, that's coming up.
Okay.
That's coming up. What about the White Hand podcast?
Wait, how do you spell that?
Exactly.
The White Hand podcast.
WIGHT or
that's funny. That's
as
funny.
In the color. Anything else?
Ring the Bell podcast.
Oh,
yeah.
In honor of Knob. I like that.
Yeah.
Strange as news from Bree.
Wow.
No podcast, just that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
just
all right.
Yeah, we're getting close. We will get there one of these days.
One of these days, we'll get it.
Yeah. Okay. What is that?
Well, thanks for doing that with me. That was fun.
Don't let the mugworts get you down.
Oh, I don't know if Swish and Flick would let us use that.
I don't know where you come up with this stuff.
Don't let the mugworts get you down. That's later in this chapter, the mugworts.
Okay, you're right. I know.
They're unsavory, not unsavory, but they're just kind of not the most friendly hobbits. Don't make Frodo feel very good.
Exactly.
Let me know when we're getting into this place. So I got a little atmosphere for us.
Yeah, so we are. We're right there. The company is in the big common room of the inn. The gathering, it was large and it was mixed, as Frodo discovered. His eyes had to get used to the light, right? So they're now walking into the company. They're heading in there, really quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you got? What is this? Oh, this is just we're there.
Are we in a tavern now?
Are
we in the pony?
That's actually really cool.
You like that?
Yes, it's kind of cool.
I meant to fade it in, and I
no, it's fine. It's totally fine.
We just opened the door quickly.
Yeah, quickly.
We're in there now.
We had soundproof doors, and we just
That's right.
Whoa, holy crap!
They built it good, Bree.
They did.
You like that? Is that okay?
I do like that. Yes.
All right. You adjust the volume there as you see fit.
Yeah, no, that's actually great. So,
You hear the fire too?
I do.
Yeah.
And it does kind of set the mood a little bit. I like it. So as they walk in here, though, there's some singing, there's some storytelling, a mixed, diverse group of people in here. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Wow, I'm just so relaxed here.
It feels good, doesn't it?
It does feel good. The company was in the big common room of the inn. The gathering was large and mixed, like you said, as Frodo discovered when his eyes got used to the light. I love that feeling. When you go into a dark room and at first you're like, oh, I can't see anything. And then eventually your eyes adjust and you take more in. You're able to, it's almost like you're hit. It's almost like the same as getting a bright light shown in your face. Yeah. It's just as disorienting, just the opposite of that. You go in and it's kind of darker. You can't really see anything at first.
Oh, yeah.
This chiefly came from a blazing log fire, for the 3 lamps hanging from the beams were dim and half veiled in smoke. So you can imagine there's just so much pipe going on here that the smoke is even affecting how much light is being shown.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Barlaman's over by the fire talking to a couple of dwarves, 1 or 2 strange-looking men as well. So this is the first we hear of these strange-looking men.
Right, yeah. I think we get to a part here quickly where they start to introduce themselves, right? And we talked about the names. So the men of Bree seemed all to have a rather, what is that? How do you say that? Wow.
Say that?
Botanical?
Botanical, yeah.
What does that mean?
Having to do with, plants.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So the Shire folk are, the rushlight, the goat leaf, the heather toes, the apple doors, the thistle wool.
Wow, I didn't even... Okay.
And ferny.
Wow. Lane, I never even really caught that.
Yeah,
that's actually... Yeah, okay.
Having to do with ferns would be that one.
Okay.
Not to mention butterbur.
Right.
So a burr is like something you get stuck in your saddle, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Some of the hobbits had similar names, so really earthy people. The mugworts. Don't let the mugworts get you down.
Yep.
Swish and Flick, feel free to use that if you want to do a Lord of the Rings spin-off show, if you want to start a Lord of the Rings podcast. For instance, seemed numerous, but most of them had natural names such as Banks, Brockhouse, Longholes, Sandheaver, and Tunnelly. Having to do with a tunnel, I guess.
Yeah.
Many of which were used in the Shire. There were several underhills from Staddle.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem. And so, since we've reached...
Did Frodo have any idea that was a common name?
I don't know.
I mean, Gandalf had to have gotten it from somewhere, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Frodo's a pretty smart guy, so he may have thought...
Yeah, I'm sure he's looked into it. I'm sure he knew.
That would put me on edge, though.
But this is... They were underhills in the Shire.
That's true.
And that's what they're gonna question him on. So we have a bit of a problem here. And I have a question for you. Was it a good idea to come into this common room? At all?
Mistake 1.
Was that a mistake or was it not?
Well, okay, so
right.
Both. It's both, Ez. It's both.
Would you have come into this common room?
Would I would have been Mary, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not an extrovert. Social situations are cool, but they sap me. And after this journey, I would be like Mary, I'd just want to, let's just hang in the room, man. Come on. Friday night, I'm at home. I'm with my family. So I'm the same way. Let's sit in the room. Let's go out and have a sniff of air.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, especially if you're wanting to fly below the radar. And I think maybe what they're thinking is they'd be more suspicious if they didn't come out.
Okay.
Maybe is my...
And I thought that myself too.
Right.
Yeah. Is that maybe...
is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. It doesn't. Yeah.
Well, but it feels so they've gotten comfortable. They had some good food in them, right? And also you want to enjoy this.
Sure.
Right. So they're thinking we just got to keep to ourselves. We just got to keep our mouths shut a little bit, right? But they go out here and they start drinking, having a good time, and it's these Hobbit folks that really help them feel comfortable, almost too comfortable. Yeah. Right. So a bit of a mistake, and like Mary's warning, don't forget it's supposed to be a secret mission, secret adventure we're on.
Don't go do anything stupid.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So anywho,
can I just say that Mary is so solid?
Yeah, he's solid.
Mary is so solid.
Now I don't think what he was doing is a very good idea either, though.
No, not at all.
He's putting them at risk as well.
Yeah. Here's a question. If you had to pick one, who's putting them more at risk? Who's the bigger liability in this situation? If you had to pick one. If you're Gandalf and you had to lay blame somewhere.
I would have laid it at going in the common room.
Me too.
I would have.
Me too. Because I think that's the greater evil or greater mistake or whatever. Yeah.
Because I think if you're a hobbit out in the streets, there are probably other hobbits out in the streets too. Right. You're fine. You're just walking around doing your thing. And I get that there are other hobbits in the common room too, but you're going in there to converse and join the company.
To socialize.
And this is where stories are told. Bring us some news. And you get into this piece where they had to come up with a cover story that Frodo's writing a book. He's into the geography.
He's doing research
and stuff. Yeah, and he had to. That was his kind of cover story as to why.
I forgot about that. That's
why they were there, right?
Nat Geo Frodo.
Yeah. And then he also has to explain this. The Underhills wanted to know,
how come we've never known of you?
Yeah, exactly. And and then where do they live in the Shire?
That's right.
And who is it that? Who do you know?
What's
are
our
the other
common
others?
relation?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because they believed he was just a long lost cousin.
Yeah. They said
it.
It was hard to believe that they could share the name without being related or knowing him, but they took Frodo to their hearts, the long lost cousin.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They're friendly and inquisitive. Right?
So they've been introduced and that's all going well. Things seem to be going well.
Yeah, things are all right.
It sounds good. Everything is happening. Frodo kind of takes like a back seat, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Just
sits off to his own self and is watching. I'm guessing Sam. They don't really mention Sam a whole lot here as to what he's doing, but having a drink and mingling.
I can imagine Sam like almost kind of trying to hold Frodo and Pippin kind of together. Trying to kind of like tether the two, like you know what I'm saying? Trying to temper the two because Frodo's kind of withdrawn and Pippin is, letting the ale flow and kind of loosening up a little bit. I wonder if he's trying to figure out like how do I hold this all together? Because Mr. Frodo's starting to look more suspicious or whatever. He's sitting alone in a corner, listening and looking around.
Right.
And that so you're right when you go into that setting of, a social gathering, and you're the person who's withdrawn, you also draw indirect attention to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
and something interesting as he's sitting there listening and thinking about what's going on in this tavern, this inn, he hears the idea that there's trouble in the south, and that people to the south and to the east are traveling up to Bree, and the Bree folk were sympathetic, but plainly not very ready to take a large number of strangers into their land. And so this is where you get into the squint-eyed, ill-favored fellow. Was foretelling that more and more people would be coming north in the near future, and they get in this little back and forth about they just don't really like that. They don't feel comfortable with that idea. It's look, you guys can come here and maybe you need to refresh yourselves a little bit, stay for a little while, and then move on somewhere and settle somewhere else.
And I think it's what he says next to that they find kind of. Like maybe unsettling. If room isn't found for them, they'll find it for themselves.
Yeah.
So
that's the difference between hobbits and big folk.
Sure.
I guess sort of.
Yeah.
Well, and they also just take up seemingly more space and things. I don't know. So
and it says the local inhabitants did not look pleased at this prospect.
No, exactly.
So,
exactly.
I mean, you wouldn't if this is your home and you'll have outsiders coming in. It's one thing for you to welcome them in and them come in, but for him to present this idea that they're coming whether you like it or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's presumptuous, but sure.
Well, and since they don't want to talk about that, so they decide to turn their attention to Pippin and Sam.
Yep.
who are feeling more at home, correct? And they're having a couple good drinks, telling some stories,
chatting gaily about events in the Shire.
Yeah, right. And it was this town hole,
in Mickle-Delving.
Yeah, that had fallen in, right? And
it's hilarious.
And you like that if you get to hear a story.
Yeah, a little excerpt. Yeah. Will Whitfoot, the mayor and the fattest hobbit in the West Farthing. So funny, dude. And he looked like a floured dumpling because he was covered in chalk.
I mean, it was awesome.
So we get a little comic relief here too, which is good because the tension is kind of rising.
Right.
And we are introduced to this idea of these strangers. This squint-eyed fellow. Some of these men, as Frodo withdraws, you start to notice some of these guys that are strange looking. And then suddenly, Frodo noticed that a strange looking, weather-beaten man sitting in the shadows near the wall was also listening intently to the Hobbit talk. He had a tall tankard in front of him and was smoking a long-stemmed pipe curiously carved. His legs were stretched out before him, showing high boots of supple leather that fitted him well, but had seen much wear and were now caked with mud. A travel-stained cloak of heavy dark green cloth was drawn close about him, and in spite of the heat of the room, he wore a hood that overshadowed his face. But the gleam of his eyes could be seen as he watched the hobbits. Whoa.
Who is that?
Who is this guy? So he's not just a little mention of, an ill-favored looking fellow, or a stranger. We've got Frodo notices him enough to, be able to describe him in full.
Right, and he
dude, that's probably one of my favorite paragraphs of the entire book.
I know, and probably the entire series for you.
Just amazing. Yeah, it really is. Well, who is this guy?
And it's enough that it causes Frodo to ask, who he is, and then ask the landlord.
And in a whisper, too.
Butterbur, yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess he says when he has a chance to whisper, Mr. Butterbur, I don't think you introduced him.
Right. And he says he doesn't rightly know, right? And goes on to say that...
call him Rangers.
Yeah. He's one of the Ranger folk, right?
Yep.
Around here, he's known as Strider.
Yeah. Around here, he's known as Strider. So good, man.
So yeah, that's actually a really neat description there.
And we also get the meaning for one of Strider's other names that we learn is Longshanks, because he goes about at a great pace on his Longshanks. This guy's tall.
Yeah.
Tall guy.
Well, he's also always seeming to be off in a hurry. They talk about how he's just like...
And disappearing for a month?
Yeah.
Year?
Just even about normal business, he seems to be quick and always moving. Just,
Yeah. And he pops up every once in a while, too.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And Butterbur actually says, funny you should ask about him, but at that moment, he was called away by a demand for more ale.
Yep.
And his last remark remained unexplained.
He's a human cliffhanger.
He is. He just can't remember what he's... There's something.
Right.
There's something there.
Or he gets distracted by something else before he has time to tell you.
Right.
So, so now it's like, oh, God, dude. And then I love this, dude, because you can just... Well, we saw it in the movie, because this to me is... This interaction is perfect in the films. It's perfect. And so as soon as he says this, he's called away, and the remark remained unexplained, Frodo found that Strider was now looking at him. As if he had heard or guessed. That's what's even, raises the tension even more. As if he had heard or guessed all that had been said. Presently, with a wave of his hand and a nod, he invited Frodo to come over and sit by him. As Frodo drew near, he threw back his hood, showing a shaggy head of dark hair flecked with gray, and in a pale, stern face, a pair keen of gray eyes.
Yeah. I mean, that is... and so he's over there now, and he says, I am called Strider.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to meet you, Master Underhill, if old Butterbur got your name right.
Dude.
So he's already on. He knows.
Yeah.
He knows
this dude's
now.
Savvy. This dude's savvy. I don't know who he is. Do you?
No, I don't know. But don't you think he knows?
Absolutely, he knows.
I think he knows. I think he knows who.
And doesn't that ruffle Frodo's feathers?
It does.
This is a big dude, menacing looking, doesn't look, in a place where he's sat in the back and just kind of watched.
Yeah.
And now he feels like he knows more about him than Frodo knows, thinks that he knows. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And we get into a bit of...
he gives him advice right away, though.
Right away. He tells him that, if I were you, I would stop your friends from talking too much. So if you've got, drink, fire, and chance meeting are pleasant enough, but, well, this isn't the Shire. there are queer folk about.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
and are you one of them?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, and that's what's interesting is that all of this is queer to Shire folk.
Right.
You know, but even in those terms, there's something queerer, right? There's something that's
a great point.
Would cause this guy who the innkeep, feels is strange. You know, we don't really know much about him. He says there's worse folk about it.
Right.
And he's right.
Right.
There are actually, and we'll see what happens here in a minute with those folks. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyways, when he turns back, he turned his gaze back. Let's see. His attention was drawn right on Pippin, and to his alarm, he's talking about some
names, right?
Some names, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not good, and he's talking about Bilbo's farewell party.
Yeah, right.
Which is not good, right? And this is so we're trying to avoid the name Baggins, and it's about to be brought up,
but even just mentioning Bilbo is bad enough.
Yeah. It is. It is because that is like as far as the Black Riders are concerned, they're just looking for a Baggins,
right?
And it could be Bilbo,
right?
They're probably looking for Bilbo.
And how many Bilbos are there?
Right.
Right.
And there's a notorious Bilbo Baggins.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he's telling the wrong story.
Yeah.
Of all stories to tell,
I know
it's unreal.
Could have gone on about the old Took.
Well, but I think
talked about his
but I think Pippin was just probably thinking to himself, well, I got to protect Frodo Baggins. And it's not even making the connection that no, they're looking for Bilbo Baggins, and through association, they're looking for us.
That's true.
So I don't know, and they do it completely different in the show. But anyways, he's able to kind of stop them by jumping up on the table, and he starts a speech.
Yeah,
he starts a speech
in a very Shire-like tradition, right?
Right.
He starts with suitable words as they would have been said in the Shire. We're all very much gratified by the kindness of your reception, and I venture to hope that my brief visit will help to renew the old ties of friendship between the Shire and Bree.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then
so formal, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then they start chanting, a song, a song, a song.
Yeah.
They want him to sing, of course.
Right, because now he's up on the table, and we've got, this is interesting, and he was the quiet one, so.
Right. He's thrown back into the spotlight.
Right.
And like Frodo, I love this. I put LOL next to this. For a moment, Frodo stood gaping. He was caught off guard, right? He's like, geez, a song? And he might also be thinking, well, never mind. He sings one that Bilbo had been fond of.
Yeah.
But I bet he was probably thinking to himself, man, I better not sing a song that Bilbo wrote. Or has sung out somewhere before, because that might be. I guess maybe that a lot of those songs are mixed in with. I'm trying to think why he was caught off guard. Is it because he just wasn't ready to sing? Probably.
Maybe, and
he wasn't anticipating that.
He jumps up on the table quickly just to move the attention away.
Right.
And then it's sort of like his speech. Okay, cool. Attention's right. Now let me see if I can
slide back in,
get back over to Pippin and say, what are you doing?
Yeah. True.
Stop this crap.
True.
What's going on?
So now he's going to have to perform.
Now he's got to sing though, because they've got him up on a table. Whoa, good master, give us a song.
Song.
Let's go. I would too. You get a couple more of these.
We're gonna be when we're doing Drinks of the Dragon.
What are we having? What drink are we having right now?
Hilltop Lager.
Hilltop Lager.
Woo!
Give me a couple more of those Hilltops.
Absolutely.
And I'll get up on this gosh dang table.
I think you would.
Okay.
I think you should.
I think I might here in a little bit.
I think you should sing this song.
I thought you had this one.
We have two variations of the song.
I don't really have a variation.
You were singing it over there by the fridge.
I don't think I was. But go ahead.
I don't want to go first. Now I'm gaping.
No, only a few words of it are now, as a rule, remembered. That's interesting, isn't it? When they talk about this song, that only a few words of it, as a rule, are remembered. It's quite a long song, so you don't have to do the whole thing.
Why is that now?
Why is that?
Yeah. Is that explained anywhere?
No, it's just it's kind of an interesting, afterthought.
And it comes to him because it's about an inn.
An inn, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he makes that association. That's good.
Yeah. So
there is an inn, a merry old inn, beneath an old grey hill, and there they brew a beer so brown that the man and the moose himself. Oh my gosh, the man and the moose! I gotta get my cadence. Come on, huh? There is an inn, a merry old inn, beneath an old grey hill, And there they brew a beer so brown that the man in the moon himself came down one night to drink his fill. The Ulster has a tipsy cat that plays a 5-minute... Oh my gosh, dude, I can't do it.
Dude, you're so good. That is so
I
great,
gotta get it.
It's so good.
The Ulster has a tipsy cat that plays a 5-stringed fiddle. And up and down he runs his bow, now squeaking high, now purring low, now sawing in the middle. Oh, the landlord keeps a little dog that is mighty fond of jokes. When there's good cheer among the guests, he cocks an ear at all his jests and laughs until he chokes. Well...
Wow.
They also keep a horned cow as proud as any queen. But music turns her head like ale and makes her wave her tufted tail and dance upon the green. And oh, the rows of silver dishes and the store of silver spoons. For Sunday there's a special pair, and there they polish up with care on Saturday afternoons.
The man in the moon was drinking deep and he...
It's hard to keep that up, dude.
That's great, though.
We're going to have to say that for the...
See, I wasn't picturing it going that fast,
well,
that's great.
You know who sings this in The Hobbit? Is what's his name? It's the one that James Nesbitt plays. I think it's Biffer.
Really? I didn't even know this was sung in The Hobbit.
Extended edition, I think.
See, and you just handed that me today.
Yeah.
You just handed that to me today.
So it's kind of this... He has this kind of driving... oh my gosh, what would you call it? Just like a pub drinking song. Like, boom, boom. Like you could pound your table along.
Well, and it says, after this, and it's probably one of the longer songs in the series. Actually, it's great.
It is, dude.
So there's loud applause. Frodo had a good voice, and you have a good voice as well. Good job, my friend.
I want to get that one man for the album. That album, when we do the album,
we're going to have to do a couple takes.
That's coming out, baby. I know.
That's awesome. So that is not at all what I was expecting you to do. So I'm actually super
drinking song. You got to go fast, right?
Super proud of you.
Okay. And you can imagine him in between going, "Wow!"
Yeah, absolutely you can. Yeah, that's
just
great.
Drunk ass.
Oh, that's awesome. So, let's see. He ought to hear this. Bob ought to learn his cat the fiddle, and then we'd have a dance. They called for more ale and began to shout, "Let's have it again, master. Come on now, once more."
That's right. Where's old Barley?
Right, exactly.
He's got to hear this.
He's got to hear this.
Yep.
This is great. So Frodo's feeling good now, and this is where sometimes it's too much of a good thing.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know. And I think even if Frodo thinks, okay, well, I've distracted him. We're not focusing on Pippin now. I can run with this a little bit.
Sure.
And so he feels a little too comfortable almost.
When he has another drink.
That's true.
They actually watch him pound a drink, I think. He's just put that back,
shotguns
son. So now it was his turn to feel pleased, as you said, and he gets back up into it. And so here we go.
Keeping above the table.
Yeah, he leaped in the air. He was too vigorous, though. He came down, bang, into a tray full of mugs and slipped and rolled off the table with a crash, clatter, and bump. The audience all opened their mouths wide for laughter, and I can see that, right? And stopped short in gaping silence. Wow. For the singer disappeared.
Can you imagine?
No, and actually the way in which he falls and disappears in the show is perfect. I do kind of see that.
It is good.
I wish it were more in this, not him running to stop, his friend.
And the important part here is you don't see the ring.
Sure.
In the movie, ring pops up.
Right.
It's the focus. It falls on his finger. So it's almost like they tie his disappearance to the ring right away, which I guess maybe is more the point in the movie, to speed things up. So you're not reading between the lines, and that maybe... that does make it almost more dangerous, I would say.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, he disappeared because of this ring. What kind of rings do that? Magic rings. Okay.
Yeah.
And so here it's almost like he just disappeared. What happened? It could be some other sorcery.
For sure. For sure. I mean? Yeah, exactly. So,
still not good, though.
No, it's not great. It's not good.
I can see Strider just sit in the corner being like,
right.
The hell?
Yeah. And so, again, and they just saw, Frodo is the one who, that probably hurt.
It did, but I deserved it.
You did. So the local hobbits are staring in amazement, and they kind of all back away from Pippin and Sam. Like, whoa,
this
you
is
guys.
A turn off.
Hold on a second, fellas.
Yeah. Queer folk?
Right.
Say what?
So they were pretty upset. They were. They were looking around at them with a knowing and half mocking expression that made them feel very uncomfortable. Presently, he slipped out of the door. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let me back up.
Yeah.
That I didn't mean to jump that far ahead there. Let's see. So all the company drew away from Pippin and Sam, who found themselves left alone in a corner and eyed darkly and doubtfully from a distance.
Can't you see everyone just fading back into the shadows? And almost like you just see eyes.
Yes. It was plain that many people regarded them now as the companions of a traveling magician of unknown powers and purpose. But there was one swarthy Breelander who stood looking at them with a knowing and half-mocking expression that made them feel very uncomfortable. So that's not good.
And what does he do right after that?
Right, he slipped out the door, followed by the squint-eyed Southerner. The two had been whispering together a good deal during the evening. Harry the gatekeeper also went out just behind them.
That's also troubling.
Yeah.
Right? Harry, who at first we were alarmed by, and then he kind of calmed us by, reassuring us this is just his job.
Right.
He leaves right. We didn't even know he was there, first of all. And then we see that he leaves with these two suspicious-looking guys, or right after. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then now Frodo's struggling here. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he felt like an idiot.
Yeah.
Dude, this is so interesting.
Yeah.
With not knowing what else to do, he feels drawn to that corner to go by Strider.
Sure. Yep, for sure. And he's trying to figure out what had happened with the ring, and I think he comes to the thank you. It did again.
No, I wasn't laughing at that.
Oh,
did your voice crack?
It did. I felt it.
Can I see your ID, sir? Are you old enough to drink here?
I can. I've got a cold, guys. So leave me alone.
Sure.
All right. No, but he has this when he's thinking about his hand in his pocket, and when he's falling off that table, he reaches forward to kind of catch himself. His hand's still in his pocket, right? And so then that's when the ring slips on, his hand. Okay.
But it's interesting too here how the ring gets this personality again that we haven't seen for a while, right? We haven't gotten this for a while. For a moment,
we're doing great.
This is just not my night for spaking. For a moment, he wondered if the ring itself had not played him a trick. Right? Perhaps it had tried to reveal itself in response to some wish or command that was felt in the room.
Let's go.
Holy Sauron.
Right.
He did not like the looks of the men that had gone out. So, all these... Yeah.
Who was that ring sensing?
Exactly.
It was sensing those men, right?
And not only that, it doesn't only put the blame on the ring, but also, was there some kind of greater incantation that made him slip and fall?
Oh my gosh!
It says right there, perhaps it had tried to reveal itself in response to some wish or command that was felt in the room. Maybe it could have been the two working together. Is what I'm thinking.
Sure.
So maybe. Oh, I see what you're saying too. We're saying the same thing.
No, we are.
We're saying the same.
But my, it's wanting
to get to someone else.
Those spies,
sure,
for their attention to be drawn to him in a way that's not good. And one of the characteristics that they're looking for is a magical ring that can make someone disappear. Right. And ba-boom. Right. He just did that.
Right.
And those boys are out the door.
Right.
Like ready to report.
And maybe too, there's some dark magic working where they obviously, if they're looking for someone, they're keen to what they need to be looking for. And so maybe as soon as they heard mention of Bilbo, right? And then this Frodo guy or Underhill gets up and starts trying to distract. Maybe they were keen to that or aware of that.
Yeah.
And then they, kind of hoped he would fall. Maybe they said a little black speech or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Absolutely.
Who knows what's done in the shadows. My favorite, this is freaking hilarious. Well, said Strider when he reappeared, why'd you do that? Worse than anything your friends could have said. You have put your foot in it, or should I say your finger? I don't know what you mean, said Frodo, annoyed and alarmed. Oh, yeah, you do, answered Strider. But we had better wait until the uproar has died down. Then, if you please, Mr. Baggins, I should like a quiet word with you. What about? Asked Frodo, ignoring the sudden use of his proper name. A matter of some importance to us both, answered Strider, looking Frodo in the eye. You may hear something to your advantage. Very well, said Frodo, trying to appear unconcerned. You can just see him you can imagine seeing him so ruffled. I'll talk to you later. TTYL.
Right, exactly. So anyways, so we'll kind of break there, and then Butterbur comes back in. trying to listen to what was happening, the different accounts.
Just a huge commotion going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where Mr. Mugwort,
Oh, yeah, Mr. Mugwort.
Right. Don't let him get you down, man. Vanished into thin air. I saw Mr. Butterbur. Leastwise, I didn't see him, if you take my meaning. And Butterbur's, this is why I love the dude, man. He's like, I'm sure it was some kind of mistake, what does he say?
No, there's too much of that Mr. Underhill to go vanishing into thin air.
Yeah.
Or into thick air, as is more likely in this room.
Right. All the smoke. And he said, he's well, where is he now? How should I know? He's welcome to go where he will, so long as he pays in the morning. So he kind of tries to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cover this a little bit and cover Frodo's butt,
which is good. And I wonder if if it started to now, and I think it has. He's starting to remember what he needs to talk to these hobbits about, and he asked for a private conversation as well.
Yes, he does.
And so there's that piece. So, let's see.
And that's pretty much the end of the chapter.
That is pretty much it. Yeah.
He says, he goes over to him and says, I'm very sorry I caused any trouble. It was a most unfortunate accident. We're a bit suspicious around here of anything out of the way or uncanny. And then Frodo realizes they got to make an early start. He says, well, you see our pony is already by 8 o'clock. Very good, says Barlaman. Something has just come back to my mind that I ought to tell you. I hope that you'll not take amiss. When I've seen a thing or two, I'll come along your way to your room if you're willing. Certainly, said Frodo, but his heart sank.
Yeah.
He wondered how many private talks he would have before he got to bed, and what they would reveal. Were these people all in league against him? Had he began to suspect even old Butterbur's fat face of concealing dark, or he began to suspect even old Butterbur's fat face of concealing dark designs.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of hope. There's a little bit of hope at the beginning of this that we would just remain, unnoticed. We would stay secret, and then this just builds, right?
Yeah.
It just builds, and then we're afraid we're going to get caught, and then we go. It's this back and forth again. We thought maybe Butterbur was someone to trust. Frodo helps avoid Pippin making a slip up, and then he's the one that slips up. It's all very unexpected again.
Right. Yeah, it is.
And again, now it's like, now we're back at square one. Who can we trust?
Right, exactly. Mary's God knows where, right, too.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know where he is, if he's safe. That's right.
Right. So, I don't know. It's a neat introduction to Strider. Very awesome.
Great.
And it's neat to sort of see this dynamic in Bree, Butterbur, like all of that is really cool. Yep. And like I said, it's supposed to be this last sort of like, yeah, cool. We're going to gather ourselves here. What were they planning on doing after this?
Right. How were they getting out? How were they getting back to the room?
I mean, if this wouldn't have happened in the common room, what was the plan?
Yeah.
Did they have a plan to leave at 8 o'clock in the morning and take off and keep going?
That's
I think they kind of did, but they're always hoping there's this, and we're going to get into that next chapter actually. But do we wait for Gandalf? Do we stay? What do we do?
We still don't know what Butterbur has to tell us.
Right.
So it's also like, we're hanging around until we can at least, is he going to remember to tell us by 8 o'clock in the morning or by the next morning? I mean, you don't know. We're trying to figure out.
Yeah, and they don't really exactly, and I don't know that they're real like hung up on what. We the audience, right, are waiting to see what's happening there, but our hobbits are kind of just okay. It's something he was thinking about and wanted to say, maybe about Shire folk or whatever. But I don't think they realize that it's a personal thing, a personal message for them until here at the end,
right?
And the next chapter,
right?
Yeah,
but I think they are kind of hanging on to his every word because Tom. Again,
because
sure,
Tom
mentions him, right? That he's this reliable guy. And so if he has something to tell them peculiar, he didn't even know we were coming kind of thing, right?
Right.
I wonder if they even wonder, is it a message from Tom?
True. Yeah, that.
I mean, could be. I don't know. It's just very interesting. So one cool connection I did think of, a lot of them we made within the reread again.
Yeah, sure.
But again, there's this idea, and we even see it more next chapter as some more information is revealed, but not only with the message of the story that it's not Bilbo's story, it's not what you think it's going to be, and this idea that we've had almost every chapter is like nothing is quite as it seems. We think something's going to go one way, we think a character is going to be one way, or be a certain type of character. We think this for sure is going to happen and we've got no problems, whatever. It's always not what we expect.
Yep.
And this theme is just carried out through. And you could say, right, and you can say, well, that's in every story. You're right, but it's a trademark of like the best kind of writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it makes for the best drama.
Well, yeah, really for sure. Does. Well, we don't know who to trust anymore.
Exactly.
We're not even trusting this guy who was recommended to us by Tom Bombadil at the end of this chapter.
Is he hiding some dark designs? Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Behind that beautiful fat face.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, it's a cool chapter. I think next chapter really ramps up. That's where we're really going to get into some
just
juicy
record
stuff.
It now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we will.
Yep.
So anyways, okay, let's move on to our Bywater post. And again, we wanted you guys to, if you have any of your Tolkien stories, to kind of share these with us on anunexpectedpod@gmail.com. If you send those there, we have a folder designated where we can just kind of read those and share those here at the Bywater post. We'll still trickle in some shout outs and things here as well, but we're noticing that things are, it's a great problem to have. Things are getting buried in the Facebook page and group, and it's hard for us to find those things.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
so
it is.
If we've missed anyone's story, and basically your story is how you got into, reading The Hobbit or, The Fellowship of the Ring or the movies. Where did you start? How did you get into it? What personal connections do you have with it? Is it something that you revisit every 2-3 years or every year? Those are the kind of things that we want to read and share with folks in the Bywater post. And then we obviously, as we did earlier, we read all the different comments and stuff that we had from last week's thread. So in the recap, we will kind of read those as well, and what have you. So you have a couple people pulled up here, right?
Yes, I do, my friend.
Oh boy.
So like I said, we didn't get any specific emails from Bywater posts, so we just kind of pulled some stuff that some new people that reached out, and some different. So we have Twitter going on now. We've got tweets and twits and all that stuff that's going on. We've got Instagram. Both those are at UpTalkinTolkien. And then also just a couple of iTunes reviews that were really cool that we wanted to read. So and also we're going to be doing a pop socket giveaway. Yeah, which it's irrelevant to hear now because it will have already been online. But congratulations to
whoever
you're the next winner. We're very happy for you. And
are you trying to get me to in post edit somebody's name in here?
Maybe.
I'm telling you right now, I will not have any more of that crap. Okay.
I want to hear you impersonate my voice because I've done you. Let's hear me. Come on.
Yeah, I'd like you to put this in, like that person's name in.
That's just your voice.
Is that my
You're
voice?
just doing hand gestures.
Sorry.
And you made your lips a little different shaped. So we've got our good buddy Jake Hodgson, who is an awesome. He paints these miniatures.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
He paints these miniatures. He does them for commission. Dear Lord, dude, just edit me out of this one. Cut me out. Do the hello, welcome to an unexpected podcast. Do the Stephen Hawking voice because I'm done. I'm done.
All right, cool.
I quit. He is Warhammer time, so Warhammer time on Instagram. Follow him. He paints these and they look beautiful. Anyway, he does them for commission. He's sending Ez and I a miniature each. He hand painted Gandalf for Ez. He hand painted Aragorn for me, and we have not seen these yet. He didn't even send pictures. The only thing I got was he sent a picture of the two types of Aragorn. I guess there's two poses that he had.
Okay.
And he was like, "Which one do you prefer, man?" So just he's a great guy. He's reached out. He's had nothing but positive things to say to us. Loves the community. Loves being an upper. Loves the book club. So
it's awesome. So awesome.
I wanted to share that he does that. So go check those out. But he also is like a musician, dude. And he does like DJing stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. And his stuff is awesome. We were talking about doing dance parties before. We were just, as was showing us his moves, which are, there are two. And I was like, dude, we should get some of the Pharaoh K, man.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? I was like, Jake Hodgson, he does like, I don't know how DJs work. I don't know if it's mixing or scratching or whatever. But he has some music, and it's awesome. It's like club dance.
Nice.
And I'm not articulating it the best way,
Does
but it's
he
awesome
have like
music.
a little?
Yes, it's on. I don't know if he has a turntable or whatever. I think it's like mixing. What?
I mean, like
well, you did a wicca motion
okay,
there.
hold on now. Does he have like a Hobbit inspired?
Dude, actually, I wanted to ask him. I wanted to ask him if he could like remix our intro.
Oh, dude, that'd be cool.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be really cool.
We have a couple episodes where he could do like an interpretation of our dun 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 dun,
or even just like one of the
songs for the album.
Yeah, or when I was even thinking like the original soundtrack, like kind of doing something with the soundtrack, but then doing his interpretation of something. You know,
we could ask him. Let's ask him,
like the Shire theme, or whatever.
And he talks about the inspiration of the soundtracks. We read his on Bywater Post. One of the first couple episodes. We read his story, so he was inspired by that music. Good. Anyway, I wanted to plug him just because he's such a good guy and his music is so cool. And he's an artist, and he's been really kind to us, like all of you. But at Pharaoh K Music or at SESKA Music, Seska Music, and he's on SoundCloud, so you can hear some of his music on SoundCloud.
Cool,
it's great. So anyway, he's sending those to us, and we're going to do a review of those as well when we get those. We're going to take pictures. We may even do a little video again that shows his craftsmanship as well. Let me see. Let me get this straight. Oh, also on Twitter, we are now followed by the illustrious, the beautiful, the wonderful Tammy Lane. Oh man, she actually replied to our tweet that was about our interview with her, and she said it was a great pleasure and so much fun to share so many stories. Thank you for sparking memories I had almost forgotten.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I got chills when I read it. I got chills again.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, we have a special surprise for her. Actually,
yes, we do.
We have a really special surprise for her.
Tammy, there's no way you're listening, but you have a surprise coming.
And I'm saying that to everyone here, so that way our listeners kind of know that we're sending her something very special.
Yeah.
Hopefully getting a Tammy, Tales with Tammy Part 2.
Yes.
And to do that, we have a very tricksy way in which we're going to entice her. Oh. She will never forget us. My precious. I'll just tell you that much.
Yeah. Ooh,
so we'll share that when it comes in. We're going to order it.
It's actually a headshot of Ez signed by me.
Right.
So he's kind of putting his hands under his
It's kind of weird
sort of thing. It's
mildly
erotic. We have a couple. We have a ton new reviews on iTunes. We have had some messages that some people are having difficulty with that. We need to figure that out. They keep trying to post reviews on iTunes and they're not showing up. So Ez is gonna call Steve Jobs on the phone and get that. No, I'm sorry. Someone from Apple.
Yes.
I don't know who the
current. Yeah, I got you.
Tim Cook. And they're going to figure that out because that's ridiculous that those not showing up.
It is. I will say I've done this. I've had other people talk to me about this on other podcasts, and it is weird. Like you press the submit button and you're like, I don't know if I submitted it 5 times or if it didn't go through at all.
And actually, that's happened to me once.
It hasn't had. Yeah. So it is something. It's just an iTunes thing. It's. You can go. I would try coming back a couple hours later or something. Sometimes it's just what's going on with
copy and paste your review if you're really proud of it. That way you don't lose it, and then you can try submitting it.
Yeah, it's different.
Don't give up. We're sorry about that because we love hearing what you have to say.
Exactly.
And we have our first 3-star rating, which I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really am.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
So we have from Never Acquiesce, an unexpected delight. And Never Acquiesce says, my favorite podcasts are those where you not only feel the friendship coming through in the conversations.
Wow.
We're doing a great acting job. Just kidding. But long to join in as well. Friends, there is no other podcast that elicits this feeling in me more than Ez and Lane's walk through Middle-earth. So she says, in just a few short weeks, it has become my favorite podcast. She goes on to say some more, or I guess I don't know if it's a she or he. Sorry. Never Acquiesce. Excellent words, very encouraging. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then Airedale06. This is the perfect podcast for any Tolkien enthusiasts. The story is so deep and intricate, and we're lucky to have Ezra and Lane as our guides through the read-through. You guys think way too highly of us. That's
especially
we're
I'm just kidding.
I think you need to go mow the grass out there.
Okay. Well,
and fix my mistake.
Sorry.
We're actually the ones that consider ourselves lucky to have you guys. So just so you know, whether you've read the books once or 10 times, there's always new connections to be made and always a chance to appreciate Tolkien's talent.
Absolutely.
That's right, baby. Okay, another cool thing. The Hobbiton movie set has followed us on Twitter, which is cool. They started hashtag... but
dude, what is going on with you today?
Okay, guys, I want to take this opportunity to retire from...
No, I'm not even going to stop you.
I'm never like this, man.
I'm not even going to stop you.
I'm never like this. I'm the solid one.
Oh.
So anyway.
Oh my God.
I can pronounce. I can...
Okay, wait
announce.
a second.
Announce.
You mean you're solid and you can read better than me? That's fine. That's fair.
I didn't say better.
That's what you said.
Differently. I did not.
This is it.
I did not.
Hashtag Team Ez.
The split. Hashtag the split.
Hashtag Team Ez versus Team Lane.
You've heard of the show We're Splitting Up Together? Well, that's what we're doing for real.
You know what? I think there's another podcast that has a green door that I should go listen to.
Whoa. Whoa.
Back to the show.
Anyway, Hobbiton Movie Set has followed us on Twitter, and where I started to stumble was the hashtag Fellowship Friday. They actually started that like a long time ago, and they encourage people to tag photos from the set. And so, we're starting to do that where we post every Friday, like a shirt that we wear, or something that reminds us of the Fellowship. And you guys have joined into that and made it pretty awesome. And so anyway, they like those, and they're like, hey, we like this Fellowship Friday. Keep it up. It's just kind of cool. Maybe they'll send us free tickets and we can send us all there.
Does it have to be like wearing a shirt or something, or can it be like just your stuff?
Yeah, and that's what people have done. They've said, cool. They've taken a shot over their shoulder of a poster, or they've got something on their desk. The or like pop figurines or whatever.
Like I would love to see people's everybody has like a shelf with like a collection of books and stuff.
Yes,
I love seeing those.
Yeah,
those are actually really cool.
That's what it's intended for. I'm going to run out of shirts to wear. I'm not going to repost the same ones over and over again. So it's going to go from I'm proud because I got a few shirts when we started doing this.
Yeah,
and I love wearing them. But yeah, it'll.
But eventually you're going to run out of them. You're going to be shirtless.
I mean, they're starting to stink already. So. So what we'll do is we'll move on from that. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Having a Butterbur moment.
Awesome.
Or life. And then we also have an amazing tweet from at Elasaraptor on Twitter. She said that she was making this list. And number 20, it just popped up. I was like, oh, what is this?
Oh, my God, yeah.
20 said, have listened to a lot of podcasts, but Up Talking Tolkien is probably the only one that's made me cry twice in only 5 episodes. Also, their interview with makeup artist Tammy Lane was wonderful. So that was just unexpected. I didn't even know at Elasaraptor. And it's just amazing because we hear from a lot of you very often, but there are a ton of you that you're not on the Facebook group yet, or whatever. We just haven't heard from you.
Or you just got here this week, and you're actually still back on episodes 1 or 2 or 3, and that's cool. And I want to say something really quickly about like Bywater Post and our community and things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the reason we read iTunes reviews, it's not necessarily to be self-serving.
No.
And I want you guys to understand this.
Please don't take it that way.
We do it so that way we can mention your username. You did us a kindness in putting that review there, whether it's good or bad or what have you. And, we like to just kind of read some of those and share some of those thoughts or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and we also are big believers in rewarding positivity. So
exactly.
It's
another way to get, it's just like the Bywater Post.
Shout outs. It's really, another, for me, it's just shout outs.
Yes.
I like to give people.
And a lot of podcasts do that. A lot of them, though, if you leave any kind of review, they will read it on their recording.
Yeah. And another thing too, though. So if we had, what in the world, dude, you guys, this
Kyle
is the
Mooney.
reason we should
go check out Kyle Mooney.
We should
check him out on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Butterbur. Here we go.
It's not my name. Strider.
The reason why we want to kind of shift the idea of like the Bywater Post to the email is, or just, as we get new people coming in, we're saying that more and more because we don't want them to get lost when they come to the Facebook page, the Facebook group, because of everything that's going on there. Because you imagine someone's listening like this week, just found the podcast, and they want to share their story. We want it to be very easy for them to do that. So we're just saying send that to anunexpectedpod@gmail.com, and we will, read that on the show. So, wow, I wish you guys could see what I am seeing right now. It's ridiculous. So, anywho, there's that. I think.
Could you say that part again?
Say what part?
Just say that part again.
I don't know which part you're talking about. All of it? The part where I'm trying to finish the podcast and get us out of here on time, Anywho, all right. So there we go. Strawberries and cream, my friend.
Oh, wait.
What?
I have more.
Well,
I have one more.
Well, why are you sitting over there making faces?
Actually, here, I'll let you read it.
I can't believe you.
It's two. It's from someone on Instagram who, again, we had never heard from before.
Okay.
Guy's name is Josh_champion.
Okay.
He for real is a champion. So it's this one and then the next one. Just read what he says. It's beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. Can you do that for me?
Sure. Really happy to find this podcast and love what you guys are doing. Huge Lord of the Ring fan. Been hoping for a podcast like this for a long time. Do you have a link or a direction where your Patreon donations are? Okay, yes. And I think Lane shared that with him. It's just so everyone knows, patreon.com/UpTalkinTolkien is where you go. Hope you don't mind, but I am actually a forum member on something called Flame of Udun. Thank you. From Out of the Kitchen. Lane is clutch. It's a Weta statue collecting forum, and I started a thread in the general discussion letting those guys know of your podcast. I hope they find it. This is really cool. I've not read this. This is awesome.
I know. That's why I had you read it.
Thank you. And you guys can get some more subscriptions. Keep up the great work. Wow. Josh, you're a champion.
Yeah.
You're the man. This is awesome. Thank you so much. It's really cool. That's really cool.
Flame of Udun. Gandalf.
Gotcha. There's your phone back.
That's not my phone.
Okay, thank you.
What were you saying that we're going to do next?
Strawberries with cream. Wow. This is no joke. I'm eating a strawberry with cream. Lane just...
That's what we do.
Vacated...
You want to start a little video there? Come on. Show them we're not... They're not going to believe us.
They're not going to believe this. I will actually start this live. So give me a second here. You guys are going to get a little tasting of the craziness.
No pun intended.
Like straight up, this... Lane does this to me, man. Why do you put me on the spot?
That is fresh, dude.
Just come out of your backyard?
Not yet.
Wow. Sorry if it's going to get a little weird. Live
it's already
video.
gotten weird, my friend.
What should I title this?
Strawberries with cream, maybe?
God, dude. Why don't you just let me... I got to get the video going,
As berries with cream?
I think I'm misspelling it. Strawberry.
I'm going to do a little plug real quick for... I know I said we never do plugs, but Cool Whip Extra Creamy made with real cream or wheel cream. Actually, really, it's amazing.
This is crazy.
Only 25 calories, guys. So really just fuel up. Fuel up.
Starting the live video. Okay, there. We are live. So this is actually mid-episode. This is kind of crazy.
Strawberries with cream.
Yeah, let me flip this over to Lane here so everybody can see. There he is. Some strawberries with cream.
You need some more?
Digging it. Let me get a bite here. Let me get a little... You take over.
What? You take over.
Oh my God, dude.
I feel like Samwise Gamgee.
That's really good. There's a lot of glare in my glasses right now.
Well, that's kind of your trademark, bud. You want some more cream?
Yeah, here, hold on.
Ez can't record stuff and also do real actions at the same time.
This is crazy.
Hi, Arwen. Arwen wants some too. You see that?
Yeah, I see that.
See her down there?
Yep. So we're doing a live Facebook video and we're podcasting at the same time. So this is sort of bizarre. I'm sorry for the ending of this episode and how it's gone. It's been a little crazy.
Hey, we want to make sure that you guys are listening all the way to the end.
Right, exactly.
We're keeping it fun.
We're saving some stuff here.
So the Prancing Pony, warm, accommodating, full of good beer and smoke and food. Where's your favorite place on Earth to grab a beer in the throat? Ezra.
What, man?
Where's your favorite place?
Oh.
Did you not hear me? That was the strawberries with cream. It's both literal and a segment.
Will you get this out of my hand?
Dude, how can you not use your two hands at the same time?
Can I put this on the table?
I'm going to eat it.
Can I put this on the table?
No, I'm going to eat it.
Okay, well, I'm over here trying to hold a phone. Okay?
Yeah, I know. It's real hard.
All right, so my favorite place on Earth to grab a beer in the throat. Oh, my God. Just so you guys know, I didn't write this. Any bar where the bartenders are... I'm not reading this, am I?
Don't read it. I want to know where your favorite place to get a beer is, for real.
Oh, okay.
I wrote that because I want to see if you actually read the outline.
Wow, you wrote some really crazy stuff. Yes, I did read this.
We'll read that in the appendices.
Okay, we'll read it in the appendices.
Okay. That is so good.
So good. Strawberries with cream. Awesome. Favorite place to grab a beer in the throat? I would honestly say here.
No, come on, dude.
Don't mess with me.
I
Stop it.
It's so nice to be patronizing.
Hey.
But what is your favorite establishment?
If I had to
man?
pick an establishment, Homestead Brewery. Okay.
in Heath, right next to the
it's like a factory.
Boeing.
Yeah. Yep.
Holy cow!
So
Pretty good, huh?
Now, do you
They
know
have food there?
The reason why is that's where I had my first IPA.
Oh,
Let me tell you something. As I was in a
Life-changing?
band. I was in a band at one point.
yeah.
Played the banjo. Okay. That's the banjo.
Banjo.
And my bandmates took me to this place. Had always had the cheap, college beer or whatever. Had a solid IPA. They said, "Here, try this one." I tried it.
And you haven't looked back.
I was like, "Well, that's pretty cool. It's got a good sensation in the mouth, right?" and they said, "Well, here, try another one." I tried the next one.
Oh boy,
It was fruity. It was different. I was like, "Well, that's different." And they're like,
give it to them.
They're like, "But you could tell the difference, right?" I was like, "Yeah, could really tell the difference." Try another one. And I just went right down the line. Delicious, absolutely delicious. So any
Your eyes were opened.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good reason.
yeah.
So it almost kind of enlightened you, moved you into another realm of beerdom.
Right,
if you will.
exactly.
Okay, so Homestead.
There we go. There was so much glare in my glasses you couldn't even see.
Are you just
couldn't even
looking
see
at
me.
yourself the whole time?
Well, no, I had it on you. Now I switched it over here.
Oh, thank God.
So
Good switch, is what
Where's
I'm saying.
yours? Your favorite
My
place.
favorite is there's another inn that's closest to my heart. It's the Fairview Inn in
Okay.
Lancaster, Ohio. There's good, cheap beer on tap. It reeks of cigarette smoke because I'm guessing until about 5 years ago, people smoked inside. I mean, you
Wow.
can still smoke on
That's true.
on the patio and the porch.
Yeah.
So it's soaked into the wood and the bar itself, which I love. It's that stale cigarette smell. There's plenty of cockroaches and probably the most beautiful view in all of Lancaster.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. You look out the front, and it's got this cool old neon beer sign too. It's actually the front of it's. They're like a sponsor for our rugby club, and on our second set of uniforms, our away jerseys, we put the neon beer sign right in front, and it just says the neon is actually just beer.
Wow.
It just says beer, and then it says Fairview Inn above that's painted on. It's this kind of aquamarine sign with that orange beer. It pops, and you can look in the front. You look out and see our fairgrounds, which are gorgeous. It's the last fair in Ohio, so it's in like the second week of October. It's actually over our anniversary week, and it's beautiful. Buildings from like the early 1900s, and then you look up and Standing Stone itself, or what that's what the natives called it, but
Sure. Yeah.
what we call it now is Mount Pleasant, which is a mountain right in the middle of Lancaster, just right there. And it's
That's
uninhibited.
awesome.
There's no power lines in the way. You can just sit there, take in a beer. It's so cool. And their slogan is since Prohibition. They've been around since Prohibition. And it used to actually be an inn. You used to be able to
So when you taking
Stay
me?
there.
When you taking me?
I've been trying to get you there forever.
Really?
Yeah. I want to go next time you're down here.
First I've heard
We'll
of
go
it,
get a beer.
guys. First I've heard of it. I'm just kidding.
What a player.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. So that's neat. That was fun. Little strawberries with cream, some Facebook Live. There it is. Moving on.
With Jim and Ron.
Okay.
Do you remember that show?
No, I don't. But I laugh at everything that you say just because that's what I do.
We're on air.
Yeah.
That's why.
Share the load, my friends. Thank you so much for those of you who have. We are recording Chapter 3 in the land of Mordor, possibly tonight. We'll see.
We're doing it tonight.
We'll see how that goes. Okay, we're doing it tonight. We also have a couple other appendices we're going to be doing tonight.
Did your voice
There
just
was my
crack
voice
again?
Stop it. Knock it off.
If we're playing a drinking game, it'd be every time Ezra's voice cracked.
Please.
Shot.
I have a cold. I'm like trying to like hold it together over here. And
Actually, the air was pretty bad out
you're
there.
being really mean. It's just been our day. Anywho, so yeah, check us out on Facebook, on patreon.com/ Up Talking Tolkien. Like I said, we'll get the shirts going up there soon and some other merchandise.
That's right, man.
For that top tier that we're going to start here soon. So
We're also doing continuing our Pop Socket giveaways. We're doing one tonight for the third set of 10. So you'll get to see, well, you've probably already seen, obviously, how that turned out. So it'll be something different and fun. I don't know. Fortnite farewells?
yeah,
You looking at me?
no, I'm looking at myself. Go ahead.
Typical.
Fortnite farewells.
We want to thank you for stepping off the road with us. Our next episode, we'll be digging deep into Chapter 10, Stroider.
If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, or leave a comment, or send us a shadow fax.
He's the Lord of all communication, after all. We'll see you in a fortnight, and remember, Frodo lives.